This is the Bruvs of thebruvs.com. If you want a podtastic podcasting Christmas, be good. We're not officially Santa's helpers, but we're watching you.
Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. And before we get too far into it, I just want to give a couple of quick little shout-outs. Recently, my friend David Fatta started up his own channel, and I'm kind of popping on that. So, like, we went and recorded a couple like movie reviews right when we, me, him, and his wife Jenny went and recorded a couple movie reviews like a few months back. So a lot of them are dated. He's gonna be trying to upload them now, but he just started up his channel. And he's got one for Just League that I'm on, so I just want to give him a quick shout out and just say, check that out. I want to give people a heads up. I'll say this.
What's his channel called?
Oh yeah, I should probably.
Yeah, that didn't help anything.
That would help.
Nobody fucking,
yeah.
you know, I mean, you're naming off a guy that's like, oh, there's our high school buddy guy, and he has a channel. What's his channel? Oh yeah, that part.
It's Digitally Twisted Review. That's what it's called.
See, yeah.
So
that was
so
very important.
So far, it's, you know, there's a demonstration of him with this big broadsword that he bought, just like smashing shit, cutting how durable it is, and that's pretty cool. Then there's a review with us talking about Just League, which is kind of like, you know, double dipping for me because we did that in our show. I just want to give a heads up on that one. I'm sitting in a black chair and I'm wearing a black shirt and I'm kind of slouched, so I look like, oh fuck, I look like Jabba the Hutt up in this bitch, but. I'm already a little...
And it doesn't help that I'm wearing a Jabba the Hutt t-shirt, too, that just kind of happened.
It's actually a black Bruce Springsteen t-shirt. But yeah, so that's there in Digitally Twisted Review. I'm just kind of like, you know, the second guy on the show, but it's fun just kind of coming in and just, you know, bullshitting and all that and talking to you. We might do Let's Plays and all that later. Also, Frank, who's been on the show, also known as FD Gross, he has his book out in trade paperback. Not trade paperback. Sorry, I'm so used to fucking saying comic book terms. He has it in paperback now. He has it actually in paperback now, and I got it off Amazon. I got it during a sale for, I think it was $10. I don't know if that sale's still going on, but yeah, Wolfgang by FD Gross.
Hold it up! I've always wanted to see what those Amazon print ones are, because that's like where like Amazon full on prints it themselves. It's not like it goes through another publisher.
It looks really good.
Yeah, because I've always just thought about that even with like Pizza Boys. It's like, you know, that's another option always, is that you can do the almost physical form on there, but I don't really know how that works for comics, because when you flip through all their templates of like sizes and everything, it's like they haven't considered comic books yet. Mm-hmm. But I always wanted to know, what does it look like on the inside? I mean, obviously, I know it's a book and all, but give it the old flippy flip.
Well, there's lots of words, so there's that.
Oh, but that looks totally awesome. It looks just like
it's official. Then even has like a map of the kingdom his story takes place in. So
yeah, I remember that from on the Kindle version. But that's awesome. It looks great. Like, that's just the one thing you always kind of wonder with like prints. Like when it comes from a place like that, you know, you submit your thing to Amazon, you're like, hopefully those prints look sweet. And it's like, oh yeah, that came out awesome.
Not to sound lazy, I'm more likely to probably read it if I have it in a physical copy rather than a phone. I know a phone's a little bit more convenient, but at the same time...
Well, a phone's not nearly as convenient as like a tablet is. That's the way to go, but a physical book...
Well, I mean, just...
You know, awesome.
I just mean the context, just like swiping with your finger. I sometimes forget that it's there. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that's right, I have this thing. I gotta finish it. Or if I have a book, I see it, and I'm more likely to finish that thing. So, yeah, I already kind of worked through some of it off the his audio book he has on his YouTube channel, and I started picking it up again from where I left off on that, and I'm definitely enjoying it. So be sure to check out Wolfgang. It's on Kindle, as well as digital download and paperback on Amazon.
Yeah, check that out. That's really cool. You can get physical copies. That sometimes makes it too. You know, some people they don't always want the digital one and so on, so it's nice to have that physical copy. And Frank's book's totally awesome. Frank's totally awesome. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, because whenever we have him on the show, we always seem to do something vampire-like. I'm like, dude, he is literally like, if we were like Pawn Stars of like our show, like we're like, well, we need to get our vampire expert in. Well, we got this friend named Frank. I'm gonna go give him a call. He's gonna come in and tell us what your vampire item's worth. and then Frank would come walking in yeah, to our shop, and then he'd be like taking a look. Well, I see you got this copy here of, you know, it looks like the 8th edition of Dracula. Okay, like going over it. That's all I started thinking. I'm like, dude, that's what it's like. We are Pawn Stars. He's like our vampire expert we bring on in.
Well, you got a copy of Castlevania 3? I gotta call in our vampire expert on that one.
He comes in, he's got like the magnifying glass, everything, looking at the corners. It's like, well, this looks like a reprint. What? I thought I had $70 here. Well, no, it doesn't look like it. Looks like you got $15. And then we'll be like, yeah, we'll give you $3 for it. We'll give you $3 for it, and we'll take you outside and kick you in the balls. How's that sound?
That's like every Pawn Stars episode. It's kind of like, well, the going rate for this thing is $7,000. We're probably going to upsell it for about $10,000, maybe $15,000. I'll give you $50 and a half-eaten burrito. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the little dollar counter thing going
Go
up
back
and down.
and
Little
Just
burrito,
a burrito
icon
pops
in.
up.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. Could you do like, maybe 6,000? It's 6,000. We'll throw a pack of ketchup in. That's all as far as we're going.
Fuck, I really need to eat this month. All right.
Okay. Sold. Yeah. We're glad we got that deal. We got a good deal. This guy gets a burrito. We're all happy. You guys outside eating the burrito. Like, it's so fucking sad that it came to this. It was my grandma's copy. Oh, she's gonna kill me in the afterlife.
He goes to hell, sees his grandma there. I was waiting for you!
That was supposed to be my retirement fund. I just happened to fucking die before then. And then you blew it on a half-eaten burrito. He's like, I did get $50 too. Fuck your $50.
I'm in hell because I was a horrible person. You're in hell just because you're a fuck-up. God wants nothing to do with you.
You could almost do almost like a follow-up to Pawn Stars where like you come back to these people like a month or so later and you ask them like, so, do you have any regrets about selling it there, Did you realize that maybe you should have just went on eBay and sold it or something and collected just a little bit more?
I imagine, maybe I'm wrong here, and this is 2 different shows, so it's 2 different sets of contracts probably, but I imagine if you agree to go on Pawn Stars and sell something, you're probably getting, I'm not sure if you're going to get, since they're not celebrities, I don't think they're probably getting royalties off the episode, but they're probably getting a small little pay cut just for going on the show, I would imagine at least, because that's still their time. They got to shoot around these people and come around and put an appointment. So I'm assuming you get a little bit, probably not a whole lot, but a little bit off that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure how, this day and age, reality TV shows have to be probably treated the same way as any other show. I know that, in the 90s, that was the whole point of, why they did them. It's like, oh, fuck, we don't have to pay people nearly as much. They don't got these stupid unions. This is perfect. But nowadays, it's like, okay, reality TV show is like a TV show. That's, what most common TV is. So I'm assuming they have to follow all the rules now.
I'll be honest, I think I hate fucking Pawn Stars. I'll watch it. Every once in a while they'll bring in, a cool item. You'll give a little history lesson on that item. Mm-hmm. And that's probably why a lot of people watch it. But just the guys on the show, if you met them, they're probably fine. But you met one of you actually.
I met Chum Lee. I'm the only person I know that's went down there and met people because every single time somebody went down there, they're like, nobody was ever fucking there. But I also went when it was season 1. It was before Pawn Stars was a big deal. Chumlee still had to make his fucking rent.
Yeah, so it's I just, whenever I saw that show, I'm just fuck these guys. They also look just like a bunch of bouncers from Applebee's, don't they?
Yeah, well, because they're all slightly overweight. Well, not slightly. They're more than overweight. Yeah. They're all kind of big, almost bald or close to it. Well, Chumlee's not bald. I guess he's got long hair. But other than that, though, yeah, they all sort of have that kind of look. And it's I remember when I went to Pawn Stars too, because I was down there for it was Kyle's 21st birthday, so that makes it show it was fucking 8 years ago or something like that by now.
Fuck, don't remind me.
But so it was also the start of Pawn Stars, so just if you put 2 and 2 together, that's what it was. But I remember it was you had to go through ghetto Las Vegas before you got to that place. It was not anywhere nice. And I remember the pawn shop was so fucking tiny. It was the smallest pawn shop I think I've ever seen. All the regular pawn shops I've ever been to throughout California, Modesto, Sonora, Sacramento, and so on, all fucking bigger. All bigger than this one. This one was teeny tiny. Now, I'm not including the garage. I think the garage obviously is probably a good size. But just the inside shop that you see in the show, it was what the fuck? It's teeny in here. And I remember just kind of we kind of went through and just looked. It's regular pawn shop stuff, you see the stuff on TV, but when you're kind of in there, it's kind of here's the gold, here's the watches, here's some old stuff, there's that Jim Morrison poster. Oh, here's the DVD section. I don't look like there's anything I need. Because that was totally during the time period of fucking buying DVDs they were going out of style, when we were in that arms race of who could have the most amount of movies.
You beat Cisco and I tremendously, but I came in second. I definitely say I came in second.
Yeah, even though Cisco does have quite a bit too. I've moved those DVDs before.
Probably not anymore.
Well, I think he still has
I
quite.
think he
a bit.
sold a lot of his shit. Won't get into the personal shit. I think he sold a lot of it, but whatever. Won't go into that.
Oh, he didn't.
now.
He just kind of like he got rid of some of the ones. Like I mean, I've done that before too. Like there's certain movies you're like, I'll get rid of this, which it always comes back and gets you. Like I don't care what it is. You take a movie and you're like, you know what? I'll probably never watch this movie again. I'll just kind of get rid of it, donate it or something like that. And I kid you not, it's always like 5 years later, you're like, fuck, I wish I had that movie.
I can honestly say that hasn't happened to me with me. That happened with me with CDs. Then Spotify happened. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that definitely happened there. Well, it's like the same thing happens with me with video games, too. Sometimes I'll sell a video game. I'm like, I beat this game. I probably won't ever come back around to playing it again. Let's just get rid of it. We'll make some money right here. It'll go towards, something creative or something like that. And then you sell it. And then all it takes is like a handful of years later, you're like, fuck, I kind of wish I had that game again. And then you end up buying it again. You're like, God damn it.
I think you and I, we're just shallow, materialistic fucks. I think that's all it comes down to it.
Well, I do like to circle myself in my, like, kind of video library. Like, there's something special about that. I don't know. What I've noticed, this is how I've, like, designated how I've gotten old. But then again, also, at the same time, I'm not able to see, like, my DVD collection. Like, it's not just circling me like it used to. But I've started to, like, forget what I have. Like, I'll, like, go, fuck, I have that video game? Or, fuck, I have that movie? And before, I used to have, like, fucking, like, the memory. Like, I could, like... I could remember all 2,000 plus movies I had when I was out like shopping looking for new ones, and then all of a sudden now it's like I can't fucking remember what I have anymore. Sometimes I get lost, and then it's like I go up there and it's like, oh my god, I got this. Or like I'll find video games too that's like, fuck, I bought this. When did I buy this at? Jeez, I don't remember I had this one.
My favorite thing is you had a thing for the lady. This is back when you lived in Modesto. You were going there so frequently. You eventually had kind of a faint crush for the lady at the pawn shop. And just to clarify, people, she wasn't ugly and she wasn't bad looking, but she was
kind of normal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nothing special. I'm not going to say in that bad way, but you know what I mean?
And you were probably like 21 or 22, something like that, and she was probably in her mid-30s. So it's not like... And that's not like a huge gap, but a noticeable gap. And it's just one of those things like, I don't know, man, she gives me all these DVDs, and I noticed...
She's always giving me deals, too.
Way.
I think that was it. It's like the deals, I would come in so fucking often that, like, I would walk away with, like, 20 DVDs sometimes for, like... Well, this is probably when they're doing, like, 12 for 20, like, or 10 for 20. And I'd probably get, like, 14 for 20 or something like that. I'd be like, fuck, I gotta get fucking more.
That's got to be a fetish somewhere, though. Just, like, pawn shop ladies.
Probably. I think it's just, like...
I know baristas
it's like any
are
business.
A thing, so...
I think it's like any business. Like, once you start going into a business enough and you start talking to people and so on, and it's like it's like something that you like, and you keep going in there, and it's like you start getting this kind of weird connection. It really has nothing to do other than the fact that it's a buy and sell atmosphere, but you go in so often that, like, it almost kind of has this, like, oh, the DVD lady seems kind of hot. I don't know why I have this, like, weird feeling, but just... There's something about it. And I know that's not what her title is, the DVD lady, but that's all I see when I go to pawn shop. I only see DVDs and video games. I, like, blank out everything else there.
Whenever you walk in there, she just has, like, a purple hat and a cane. It's like, if you want to taste paradise.
I know, exactly. Just like, here's my row of DVDs. And she, like, slides down. Like, you don't even know really how. She's just sliding behind the counter there.
No, don't grab the copy of Val Kilmer's The Saint! You turn into, like, a blueberry.
I kind of miss those days of, like, going out and totally just, like, fucking hitting up pawn shops at thrift stores and so on and looking for fucking movies. Because, I'm not saying I don't do it every once in a while. I mean, I haven't been to a pawn shop in a while. Sometimes I'll go to, like, a flea market and find some things. But there was something fun about it, There was something cool about just going out and going, like, oh, yeah, look at this. Look what we found today in this collection. It's like, I only spent $20, but I got all these movies. It's nice, because now it seems like I buy movies. I buy more expensive movies, but I just go straight for, like, the ones I really want. Like, I want this fucking Shout Factory version of this John Carpenter movie. Fuck it, I'll pay $15 for it. I just want that version, because I can't find that just normally. And I'll get that, but I won't buy, like, this copious amount of DVDs like I used to. Well, I still buy quite a bit. I'm not going to say... I'm not at the point where, like, there was a record where I think I bought 200 movies in 1 month. Like, I'm not at that point anymore. I still buy more movies than I have time to watch.
I notice I'm that way with comics, definitely. Because there's a couple of first off, there's 2 bookstores within walking distance of me. One of them is a comics and collectibles shop. The other is a used bookstore, so you could always come across some Marvel and DC stuff for like, you know, thick graphic novels for like, oh, this one's only $8. So
Yeah.
that's just like heroin addiction right there. But something else though is fuck, what's I gonna say regarding that?
Comicsology, because that gets me every fucking time.
Not Comicsology. Actually, regarding back to what you said about going to the pawn shops a bunch. For a while, I was really dead set against getting Netflix because I knew that if I got something like Netflix or some kind of streaming service, that it would make me going out buying random DVDs obsolete. Because it was almost kind of like, you know, we were like in our early to mid 20s by this point, and we were just like learning movies. Like, oh man, we were trying to be all like Tarantino. Like, Tarantino watched the movie every day, and that's, if we watch a movie every day, we'll be as good as Tarantino. So we were just buying whatever the fuck we saw. Like, that's $2. Let's fucking find out how good it is. And plus, we were also coming up with this weird ideology of like because we were also reading a lot of like Leonard Maltin reviews and flipping through his books.
Like,
so
what no fucking 21-year-olds fucking doing is reading a Leonard Maltin book, but we were going for it.
And we were coming up with these weird ideologies, kind of like, okay, well, a 2 means it's worth seeing, but it's worth seeing, maybe not worth owning, but worth seeing. But if it's a very weird or miscellaneous 2, then if it's there and you gotta make your, you know, 10, you gotta make your 10 stack, make it $20 worth, might as well pick it up. 2.5. It's good, not amazing, but still worth seeing, still worth owning, but not amazing. 3 is good, you know, just so breaking it down. So we're now
we had like a buy, like it was like a buy review kind of like rating, and it's almost like, because, you know, let's just say out of 10 out of 20 movies, it's like one of those ones, you know, you went in there was always 5 movies like you instantly were like, fuck, this is amazing. Like, you know, you get this movie for $2 in a sense at the time period. I mean, nowadays $2 movies kind of a little bit more common, but you get this $2 movie and you'd be like, fuck, that was a movie that'd be like $20 in stores right now. You know what I mean? And you get that one, and you get a couple other ones like that, and then there's always like that end where you're like, fuck, I gotta make about 3 more movies, because I gotta make the 10, because it's not worth it. If not, they're gonna charge me $3 a DVD. If I don't get 10, I don't get the good deal.
But the thing about that, though,
and that's when you would end up getting those fucking weird movies.
Well, the thing is, I get this ridiculously long stack of these movies we never finish. There's still movies from those days I've still yet to watch.
Same here.
And the thing about that is, it's because we were trying to fucking follow this weird fucking, I don't know, just like dedication to movies that doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day. Because I remember walking out of movies being like, you know, being very analytical. This is also the point where we're also trying to almost be film critics ourselves. And we're like, you know what? That movie is a 3. When it comes out, I guess that means I have to get it since it was a 3. So
like the rating was tied to buying.
Exactly. And now it's like I've walked out of movies like that movie was fucking perfect. Are you gonna buy it? Nah, I don't really feel like owning it, but it was a really good movie. I'm glad I saw it. It's like, but you're not gonna own it? No, fuck that. I don't got enough room on my shelf. I got other shit to do.
Yeah, because a lot of times you're like, you know, there's great movies, and it's like, you know, there's certain ones that's like they kind of pass. It's like, I'd like to get that, but it's like, yeah, I don't have to get it right now. Well, I mean, the pawn shop too. I'll say this: at the end of the day, though, you were paying next to nothing for these fucking movies, so you really had nothing to fucking lose. Because I would take a $20 bill, and I would go in there, and I'd walk out with fucking more movies than I had time to watch in like the month. You know, sometimes if you go in there with a $40 bill, you come out fucking loaded.
Just go in there with like with your cane and monocle, like your finest wares, slapping 20 on the table.
Dude, one time I went in there and there was the cane and monocle guy. He didn't technically have that, but there was this guy. He just came in and he just went that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, skip, that one, that one, that one, and he literally just bought every movie he didn't own. That was like, because I remember like the pawn shop guys came with me like later on. They're like, that guy, he comes in here, that's all he buys. He just buys movies he doesn't own. He just wants to have just the most rapiest collection of like movies, just humongous fucking stack of like everything. And he just goes to all these stores and just picks them. I mean,
rapiest collection.
It didn't matter what they were. He bought anything and everything he didn't have. Like, I don't know what that guy was like literally trying to like fucking like, we thought we were doing an arms race. We didn't realize we were competing against Russia. That's what this guy was. You know what I mean? Like, he was going to fucking sacrifice his own wife and kids to make his DVD collection bigger and better than all of ours combined.
He doesn't even watch them. He just like has like them alphabetized on a shelf around him. He just rocks back and forth in a room that's just lit by firelight, just rocking there, swirling a glass of brandy, just staring at the walls of the DVDs in alphabetical order.
Well, yeah, because the guy was like 60-something years old, so I don't know if he was just planning his retirement out. Like,
He
if he had
doesn't
this
have the
calculated
time to watch
chart.
all those.
No, I already know in my own life. I sat down like, okay, for all the movies I have, if I was going to sit down and watch a different movie every single day through, as many days as it took to go through my entire collection, it would take me well over 6 years just to go through it. And that's watching a movie every single day, not splitting them up, not doing half a movie today and half a movie tomorrow. Every single movie is like, fuck, that's so much. And then don't even think about video games. Like, that would scare you if you, like, fucking went and calculated all your video games and then, like, because, a video game, even if you go hardcore to game and it's not, like, a super long one, that's, like, still at least, like, 2 or 3 days to play one. Like, let's just say you had nothing better to do but play video games for 10 hours a day. And that was the case, you would still probably take you 1 or 2 or 3 days just to really start knocking through these ones, let alone when you get to something like a Fallout. But if you start calculating those hours up, it's like, I bet you that's like over 10 plus years just to go like through my whole collection again. Scary to think about. I remember like there's a guy on Twitter I was talking to about it. I can't remember what it was. He was talking about like his like collection and that. I'm like, yeah, you know how it is. You fucking get these games and you should play them, but then you keep buying fucking more. He's like, well, I was planning on living till 200. I'm like, oh, you got the same life plan I do too. I just hope technology kind of gets there by the time we need it.
I wouldn't surprise me if it got there right at the very end or if we just miss it.
Yeah, it'll probably be like that. We'll probably be very close to it. We might be close, but no cigar, maybe.
Or we might get there, and we'll be at the point when we're already, like, in our, like, 80s. So we're probably fine with it. You know what? Fuck it, I don't need it. Why do I need a new spine and a new liver? Fuck this shit. Put me in the goddamn ground with my DVD collection and my comic books.
I know, just one of those ones. Well, speaking of sort of like the DVD collection, like I found this the other day for $2. $2 brand new, and you can't beat this. And it was on Blu-ray too to top it all off. And it's one of those movies that I've looked at ever since it fucking came out. And it's like at some point it's like, I should just see it just to see it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I mean, you could just be like, it's an okay movie. It's
You're
not
really
like...
justifying this. I'm curious now. I'm actually kind of scared of what it is.
Well, the movie is what it is it's an Adam Sandler one, and it's Pixels.
Yeah.
And that was that movie that kind of came out, like, it's one of those weird ones. Like, I always thought, like, when you watch that movie, if I was fucking 10 years old, that would be the movie you'd be like, they're making a movie, like, right about 50. Like, I mean, you would freak out. Like, especially in the 90s, that would fucking blow your mind because you just didn't have that kind of stuff. And it's funny, like, when it kind of came out, it was kind of like, oh, another Adam Sandler one. Well, I don't know. Like, it's got Donkey Kong in it. It's got Space Invaders and all kinds of stuff. And I don't know. It's just, it had, like, this weird kind of, like, feel to it, and I don't know why I bypassed it. I don't know if it was some weird type of judgment or something like that, because like kind of in recently it's like if you watch like some of the last Adam Sandler movies he's done, they're fucking like amazing. Like that Stanley Wexler, I would say that's a contender for top 10 movies of the year. That's fucking good. And then even the one he did too just recently, like it's like reminds me like a Woody Allen picture, like a Adam Sandler Woody Allen movie, but it's got him and Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman. I mean, it's not like an amazing movie, but it still was like, oh fuck, it's just like kind of hard drama with a little bit of comedy, and then of course you get Adam Sandler yelling again, which is very important in life. And then watching the whole family yell too.
And I haven't finished that one yet. That's a Noam Baumbach movie, so that's the main reason it's kind of turned my interest on that. And I'm like, I didn't even know who when they were talking about the other brother. I'm like, oh shit, the other brother's Ben Stiller, and I haven't finished the movie just because I was just getting so frustrated with Dustin Hoffman. It was just one of those things. I want to go back and finish it because I like that director, but I was more than anything just like Dustin Hoffman's such a fucking asshole. I mean, he says some funny lines, but
he's like the hateful father.
But he wasn't like the hateful like blue
fuck
collar,
you, boy.
He wasn't the hateful blue collar father. He was the very snobby New Yorker, like artsy father.
Yeah, like I'm assessing my art. Like I gave you guys a good life. I told you to play piano, play the music, and what the fuck did you guys do? Like that kind of thing. And then he also, it's funny because he has those kind of traits that you see in some people where you say something and then they just go, well, the other day me and this guy were doing, like they just almost don't care what you have to say. They only care what they do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely saw that in the Dustin Hoffman character. And he's like, he's dying? Good.
Well, it's kind of like what it is. It's like that's like a movie about like a father that's dying, and like nobody really has like this great relationship with it, but it's still like their father, I guess, and so on. But did you get to the part where like there's there's a part that was like fucking hilarious where there's the sister in there too, and she tells this story about like, oh, old Uncle Frank. I remember one time, you know, he was over at the house or whatever and stuff, and I just got out of the pool or whatever, and then I look over and there's Frank, and he's got his fucking cock out, and he just starts fucking beating it, looking at me, and then Ben Stiller and I'm like, fuck that guy, we gotta go take that guy out, and then they see the guy and he comes out, he's like fucking like 88 years old, like in a walker and everything. They're like fuck, he's gotta pay somehow, some way, and they go and they start like breaking his car.
I didn't get to that part. No,
they're like, fuck that old man.
I want to finish the movie now because I know it was gonna be. I mean, I know it's gonna be some kind of like bittersweet, like some kind of bittersweet thing going on because that's how Noam Baumbach movies are, and that's kind of how While We're Young was like. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get around to finishing this one. I will eventually. It's like the Morchowitz or something like that is what this one was called.
Yeah, and it's a good movie. It's not like one of those ones like, okay, if we're gonna go off our old school rating system, like it's like one of those ones like it's good, but I wouldn't really like own it. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I can't really imagine watching it multiple times. It's not really one of those movies. It's more like you watch it once and you go, that was a good movie, but that's probably about all I need.
Well, going by that, if it was good and it stood out, it was a 2.5, and that meant it was worth owning. But by these standards, 2.5. Glad I saw on Netflix. Moving on.
Yeah,
I might check it out.
That's probably exactly it. 2.5. Moving on. That's about good. Well, in the olden days, you'd be like, well, fuck. I got 7 movies and I need to make it to 10. Well, fuck it. This movie was good enough. That's how that rating system worked.
Yeah, and I like this director too, so it's like completely.
So I got to put him in my collection, so it looks more eclectic. But no, I kid you not, like Pixels. I haven't finished it yet, but I watched about half of it, and I was like, me and Laura both looked at each other and were like, dude, like, why do we put this movie off? This movie's fucking sick. It's great. It's got great Adam Sandler comedy in it. The story's cool. I mean, it's got a little bit, like, you got to kind of suspend disbelief a little bit, but I was like, dude, it had, like, an awesome story. I liked how it was, like, Adam Sandler, like, was in this, like, video game tournament in 82, you know, like, the prime time period of arcade games and so on, and he fucking loses horribly, so he kind of, like, puts it kind of like, oh, okay, well, I don't want to be anywhere next to this limelight or whatnot. And then, you know, even Kevin James in it and stuff. And yeah, it was like, it was wild. It was funny. It was good. And even like, I mean, it's kind of as weird as it was, it still like worked out. And I was like, guys, see, this is what happens. You put movies off sometimes, and then you kind of watch them. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. Like, you know, who will put a Steven Spielberg movie to shame? No. It's a fun movie. At the end of the day, that's what it is. But like, it was fun in like the classic Adam Sandler sense. Like, because I think there was that middle period of, I don't want to say middle period by now, but I used to call them the modern Adam Sandler movies, but by this point, they're not really that anymore. But there's like that, I'm going to call it the middle ages of Adam Sandler. Like kind of past Click, past Anger Management. Like let's say those were kind of like the last two of like the stuff and kind of going in. And those were like those movies where I've never really seen that many of them. And the few I saw, I was like, they're okay. They got like a couple jokes in them, but they're not a Happy Gilmore. They're not a Billy Madison. They're not the Waterboy, the Wedding Singer, Big Daddy, like, you know, the classic Adam Sandler films, 8 Crazy Nights. You know, they just kind of became these kind of like okay, partial, like family movies and so on. But recently, it's like Adam Sandler's kind of like, I felt like turned around. Some of those Netflix ones, you're like, dude, these movies are fucking good. Like, and I think people kind of put him off during that middle age period. And then it's like he kind of came back, and it's almost like, and I guess his hardcore fans, of course, who probably watched everything. I guess I can't be considered a hardcore fan because I guess not like I jumped ship, but like I just kind of stopped paying attention for a while. But yeah, it's like you kind of come back. It's like I almost kind of watch even some of those ones that look kind of fucking dumb, just to watch them anyways. Just go, what the? And once again, at the end of the day, what are you gonna really lose? You know what I mean? As long as you're not watching C-grade movies, because that was also part of the pawn shop era. I remember buying C-grade movies. Like you would literally buy a movie that looked so fucking shitty because you're like, it's gonna be educational. And I'll say this:
what not to do.
For the time, I think it is. I think when you're starting off kind of like in that movie making like realm where like I just would need to indulge. Because I think that's almost very important for anybody, I guess of any creative sorts, but you know, let's just say movie making. I think that's more important than anything you could possibly do is to fucking take in as much movies as you possibly can, watch as much fucking special features as you can, and then of course create as much shit as you can. I think that's like the 3-step process to really like making it. I mean, read some books and some other things too, but yeah, so indulge in that. Watch the best movies, watch the worst movies, watch the mid-grade movies. Don't deny yourself of anything. Don't become some fucking film snob where you're like, that's a film and that's a movie. Because at the end of the day, I've kind of come to the conclusion that, you know what, I actually like the movies that are considered movies more than actually films, but not saying that I don't like both of them still.
No, I can get that. I'll say that I recently... I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest. The Pixels just didn't... For whatever reason, it just didn't look that funny to me, and I guess I just felt like maybe I gotta watch it or something when it comes on Netflix or something, or it looked like it was trying to pander real fucking hard. But...
I think that maybe that was just a trailer, because that's the same way I felt, too. I kid you not. That's the same way I sort of felt. And then when I'm watching it, I mean, it definitely goes for, like, you could tell it's a video game movie sort of made for a little bit older audience. You know, it's made for that generation. It's like a Generation X video game movie at the end of the day. It's not, fucking Generation Y. It's Generation X movie. So I think that's also it, because, like, you can see the Generation Y kids are fucking sitting there with their arms crossed, going like, well, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, don't be wrong, I love me some Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, and Galaga, but, like, what are these guys going for? And then you kind of see, it's like, oh, you know, it does kind of work out that way, you know? I don't know. I'll say I enjoyed it.
Not to speak about a movie that I have not seen and assume, well, we'll make it better if on a movie I haven't seen, but I guess the thing is, I'm not opposed to the concept, because, you know, you can get behind some wacky concepts and still make it funny and still make it good. I think it's just like the super, what has become known as like the super family-friendly PG-13 goofy comedy crowd. And there was like, you know, it was Kevin James and Adam Sandler, who neither of them are bad. When they're together, they just make grown-ups and Grown-ups 2 type shit, it seems. And I was thinking, like, you could probably take the same concept, make it rated R, and maybe pull in, like, someone like Jonah Hill or, Chris Pratt or somebody. Maybe even, like, you know, some famous, like, Let's Player, like someone from Game Grumps or, what's her name? Dodger or something shit like that, you know? So I was thinking, like, you could probably do that same... So it felt kind of like... It just felt like a big, like... it just felt very kind of corporate-y, kind of like, well, what do people know? They know Pac-Man, they know the Space Invaders, they know the Donkey Kong. So it looked like very bare-bones characters that everyone's going to know, rather than having... I mean, I'll say this. We both don't like Wreck-It Ralph, but Wreck-It Ralph made some deep cuts within the first 20 minutes of that movie. I'm pretty sure
that first 20 minutes, that's fucking amazing. Then why the rest of the movie has to go so far downhill so fast and never come back up?
Yeah, so I almost feel like there's two different writing staffs on that movie right there. So, but yeah. So, yeah. But on something I saw, is that all your feelings on Pixels right there? Or?
Well, I'll just say, like, just kind of to go off of what you just kind of said there. It's like, yeah, and I think that's what it is. Like, as far as the trailer looked, it kind of came across like that. But when you watch this, and even though it's PG-13, it's like, it's in, like, more classic Adam Sandler style. It's not, like, family-friendly, like, Adam Sandler style. It's, you know, like, what you kind of remember. And then also, it's like, even like the 80s things, I mean, I know it's like going off things you know, but it's more like for what the storyline's kind of going with, it's like, it kind of works. It's like, you know, they sent the spaceship off, obviously, like the Voyager, that had all the shit in there, and instead they sent this video game tournament. They're like, okay, we filmed all this video game tournament, and that's why we send that off. So they thought, you know, the aliens come to attack them using the things that they're like, oh, this probably is what fucking scares them, and so on. But it all kind of works. It's like one of those ones, like, I don't know what it is. Like, it doesn't feel corporate-y at all. It just feels like, because you know Adam Sandler's always liked video games. It's in his fucking other movies. You see it all the time. So it's like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, he's just doing it for the cash. Obviously, I mean, it's probably one of those ones, like, it was a time to sell it. I mean, what, did Wreck-It Ralph come out before or after Pixels?
I think, Wreck-It Ralph came out before, because I was still in Sonora.
And I think, I'll say this, I think Wreck-It Ralph was also, like, that probably put, like, a sour kind of, like, feeling for games that, like, not games based off movies, but games that were kind of trying to, like, be, like, game culture, I guess you could say. Maybe that also affected that, too, but it's like, I'll say this, 1,000 times better than fucking Wreck-It Ralph. 1,000 times better than Wreck-It Ralph. Pixels is. And I haven't even seen the second half of it.
You say that with such a stern, serious look on your face. Like, there's no like comedy behind it. They're just very like, no, I'm getting a point across. The people have to fucking know.
I don't know what it is. This is one of those ones like Wreck-It Ralph. I feel like that was like one of my worst movie theater. It actually was my worst movie theater experience ever. I don't know. It's like, I think what makes it so bad is because that first 20 minutes is fucking amazing. That movie is a 4 out of 4 when it starts off. And I think from going from a 4 out of 4 to literally like a 0, a bomb on the fucking Leonard Maltin chart, it's just like, I think that's what makes it so bad, is it goes from being like, oh, this is everything you fucking want, and then it's like they pull the fucking carpet out from underneath you, and next thing you know, there's like a Mortal Kombat pit of death below you, and there's nothing you can do but just fall and land on these spikes and sit there for another fucking hour until like somebody comes and pulls you up. Sub-Zero's like, sorry about that, you know, you just gotta kind of stand down here till the cameras are off.
Or it's like, or you get in a car with Mickey Mouse. He's driving. It's just a fun, nice ride. Like, everything's going good. Like, hey, having a good day? Like, yeah, I'm having a good day. Like, all right, well, just as long as you're having a good time. And after 20 minutes, he starts to pull down this dark, creepy-looking alley with no light.
And the fucking doors lock.
Yeah. Like, Mickey, what are you doing? Like, he's just like, I start to unzip his pants. You know what's going on? I'm like, no, Mickey, no! No! Open your fucking mouth!
Yeah, suck that dick, you little fucker! Go now, go! And then these like fucking windows go up.
You in.
These windows on the outside go up, and they just like seal it in so nobody can tell what's going on in here. So no matter how hard you shout, no matter what you try to do, you can't stop this raping.
Oh boy.
For as positive as we are, we're like the kind of people that could talk positive on practically any movie. That's like one of the few ones. I think that's always how it is. Because if you're a really positive person, you see this all the time in other people. These people that try to like, it's like they harness like, you know, the best things about life is just fucking loving it. But no matter what, no matter how positive you are, you will always build up a breaking point. And the more positive you get, there'll always be something that just fucking pisses you off. And you'll want to punch that fucking thing into the ground because you need still a little bit of rage in life. You need a little bit of primalness. You need a little bit of that Fight Club, like punch your fucking neighbor in the face just to feel something. And I think sometimes you got to be careful about being too positive because then next thing you know, then you'll be starting punching random neighbors without even them doing anything wrong. But you just had to release something, and that's what I feel like Wreck-It Ralph is. That's what it is. It's I'll say this. It's probably not nearly as bad. I mean, it's like I always kind of wondered if we went back and gave it a second view. I'm not going to say it's going to change my mind necessarily, but I bet you. I think it's more like it's just like the experience of it. But going in, knowing what it is, I probably would walk out of it a little bit higher. Like, okay, it's not nearly as bad as it once was. Maybe not the worst experience ever, but I'm still saying it's pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, I don't really want to watch it again. There was even a point I was kind of in denial about it. Like, I would see some promotional art for Wreck-It Ralph. I'm like, oh, I'm looking forward to that movie. Oh, wait, I already saw it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I blacked it out of my mind. But that's funny that you say. Like, you want to keep that positive, that you need some negative outlet because you just don't want to punch your neighbor Tom or whatever. I'm just thinking like, well, why'd you punch Tom? Like, he blinked too fast. What?
Yeah.
It just annoys me when they blink too fast and too rapidly. He had it coming. Why is he always blinking so much? He's hiding something. I fucking know it. But
you see, when he was mowing his lawn, he decided that he would be a neighbor and cut part of mine. But fuck that. I was letting my lawn grow out.
If I got tall enough, I can go walk through the tall grass and find Pokemon.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to attract fucking animals to like the neighborhood.
Oh shit, this motherfucker's losing all grip on reality. That's what happens when you're too positive. You kind of like start to look at all the bright side of media, but all the negative sides of actual humanity in life.
But no, yeah. So, yeah, just weird things like that. But also, in this middle of this fucking shout-out here, we also started doing these game videos, and I know if I don't say it now, I'll forget about it. So we decided just to do, like, I call it, like, an alternative to podcasting. Just a little side project. Kind of like our comics side project podcast that we haven't got to in a while, but you know how those side projects go. And we're like, you know what, let's do some let's do some video games, sort of in the Let's Play style. We call them game files, because before Let's Plays, that's what we used to call those kind of videos. And so we decided to do some. So we got about, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them up there on YouTube right now that you can check out just for hilarious shit that probably isn't the greatest, but whatever, just something extra. And I wanted to just say, take a look at those.
Watch me struggle through video games. I will say this, I'm not trying to like defend myself too hard here. I'm not the greatest at video games, but when you're trying to talk and be funny and you know you're being watched, that's where you actually just fuck up a lot more. Because later I went home like, I know I'm not this bad at Sonic 2. I went home and I was playing like, yeah, I haven't died yet. What the fuck? How is it so bad on this show? So I think it's just one of those things when you know you're being recorded, you're just like, don't fuck up. I fucked up!
I think too, it's like podcasting. Once you got to get past that like initial handful of episodes, get kind of used to what you're doing. Because, you know, it's like, I think about our first podcast and it's like, kind of like, okay, gotta make sure I'm entertaining and make sure it's doing good, and and then you get to that point. But
I can't go back and listen to that fucking thing. I know what we talked about. We talked about Dark Knight Rises. It was our very first episode, but I don't want to go back and listen. 1 year, when we were already, like, not even, like, a fucking year, maybe, like, 8 or 9 months into the show, I went back and listened to our second episode where we talk about the Suicide Squad New 52.
I think that's the worst, probably one.
Which is only, like, 20 minutes long, and that is... Fuck. That is fucking brutal. That is fucking brutal. I'd rather, like, Ryan, do you want to listen to this again for 20 minutes? Or do you want me to just kick you in the balls once a day for a week? Like, let's go kick me in the balls once a day for a week.
I think some point in the future we should do a breakdown of that one where we play, like, 20 seconds of it and then kind of comment on it and then play 20 seconds of it and comment on it. I think that'd be funny. Just for shits and giggles. But
regarding keeping negative on shit, I was curious. I'm kind of in the Stephen King mood right now. So, and I saw they have a show for The Mist on Netflix. I don't know if
is that like that new like Netflix original one?
I don't know if it's a Netflix original show, but there is a Mist series now where I never really read the story. I remember the movie, but I'm not sure if it's going more based off that or if it just took the concept and expanded that to a series. But I'm watching the thing, and I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to force a smile for a little bit. The first episode's taking its time. Dude, with spoilers ahead for this thing. Dude wakes up in the woods with a German Shepherd. The guy's is a soldier. And I'm automatically like, God damn it. Only reason this German Shepherd is here is to die. It's gonna bark, it's gonna run off into the fucking fog, and it's gonna die. Hopefully we don't see it on screen. Oh, no. He comes across it decapitated and, like, hanging from a tree, like, shoved into part of it. Of course, you gotta do that, so no one's safe, even the German Shepherd. Alright, whatever. Jump ahead to town, and I'm not gonna go into all this shit here, because it's kind of like by the numbers shit. This is kind of like me trying to be very optimistic and just my very steady decline of, like, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. Where it's starting off kind of like, okay, you see it's in every, small town, girl wants to go to a party, her dad's like, oh, come on, let her go to the party. Mom's like, no, the football jock is there, he's going to take advantage of her, whatever. She goes, we don't see what happens entirely, but we overhear that she was drugged and raped. Mm-hmm. And then later, shit that stirs up controversy within the town, this and that. That was the sheriff's son that apparently did it. Who knows? Maybe it was the gay kid who's actually your friend. We don't know. But what ends up happening is
the poor town's like, he's spreading the gay. That's what he's doing. I know he's going to impregnate her with another gay person. That's how it works.
It's gonna pop out of her chest like an alien.
And that gay person's just gonna run off of his top hat and start fucking dancing and singing songs his way out. I just know it.
Dude, if it just went that direction out of nowhere, I'm like, well, I don't agree, but I want to see where it goes. Morally, I'm against this, but I want to know what's gonna happen.
Well, yeah, it just was like, yeah, that's an interesting take. I like
this
that.
Weird, like, H.P. Lovecraft-style monster bursting out of this girl and then just running around spreading all, like, this very stereotypical, like, shit, like, singing Showtime tunes and all that. Like, you know what? I mean, I don't agree with this, and it's actually kind of offensive. But at the same time, I'm going to keep watching because I want to see what happens next.
I find it funny. That's what I see it as. You know what I mean? Like... that to me, that's good comedy.
Here. I'm not trying to be
like fucking like making something fucking that weird. Like, come on.
Yeah, but no, it's one of those things. Like, what happens next with this? Oh shit! It's called The Mist, but there's like this weird like xenomorph gay thing running around just fucking everything and singing Showtime too, or singing show tunes.
Showtime tunes. So he's singing, songs from Showtime originals that nobody remembers.
No, but anyway. What ends up happening is he ends up going to the fog ends up rolling in, tension between the towns even higher and higher because of this whole thing that happened with the girl. Very kind of forced shit. And I'm sitting there like, all right, it's the first episode. They got to get this out of the way. Fog rolls in. This one lady's like, your daughter's a whore. You suck. Whatever. Fuck you. Blah, blah, blah. Walks out of the mall into the fog with her son. You're like, oh, let something fucked up happen. You hear screaming. She comes running back with her lower jaw missing, banging on the counter. A tentacle grabs her, pulls her back into the fog. I'm like, oh, shit's about to get fucked up. And then it goes to the next episode. Like, all right, I'm in. I'm fucking in. And I'm watching this thing. waiting for another thing like that. But what happens is they just cut to like small build-up shit, like just drama between the fucking people, which seems really forced and really stale. And then it's all a bunch of tiny little bugs do the mummy thing. You know, they go inside them, just
like the scarabs.
Yeah, it's like, no, fuck that shit. And like, you know, they might, all right, yeah, it gets a little gory for a second, but what happens with the fucking, let's see, some weird fucked up like H.P. Lovecraft monster or something like that. We don't see that for a while. And at some point, this is the main reason I brought it up, because I know how you would feel about this. And this is kind of where the show, where I went from okay, I'm going to tough it out for a little bit longer, to a fuck you, because I know exactly how you'd feel about this.
Uh-huh.
So, at some point in the show, because in the movie, it was a supermarket. The show, to give a little longevity out of it, it's a mall. And the mall manager is like, okay, everybody, we got to stick together. And two of the guys who are the biggest fuck-ups, who were like late to mid-20s, like, why can't we leave the mall? What's the big deal, man? Like, I don't want to hear nothing from you. That video game store you guys started on the second floor has done nothing but cause trouble for this town.
Oh, they pulled. That's like such like an old-fashioned like, oh, the goddamn youth and all their problems. That's who we should blame.
The video gamers.
Those fucking video gamers. Well, I knew it. They're a bunch of degenerates. That's how Columbine happened, you know, because of video games.
This is the main reason I brought this shit up in the first place. I was like, I gotta know how this one ends. And
God, see, that movie just sounds like a boring version of like The Fog by John Carpenter. Like, that's a fucking good movie, but this one just sounds like there's opportunity, but just not well used.
Did you ever see
that's about how some Stephen King movies are and / shows. It feels like sometimes it's like they got like a good concept going, but it's like I'm not really gonna blame Stephen King because it's not him putting together the movie or the show. But sometimes I just kind of feel like people take like I don't know, they stretch them out too long and not enough happens and so on.
Did you ever see the Mist back in like I think it was early 2000s it came out?
I don't think so. I only remember The Fog by John Carpenter in the 80s or 70s.
Because what happens is if you're in the mist too long, there's like monsters live in the mist, so you gotta kind of wall yourself off. And sometimes they break into wherever. It's a very seclusion movie, and you can't be in the mist for too long, otherwise they'll find you and you're fucking dead. And a lot of the monsters in there are like giant insects or just these weird kind of like of another dimension type monsters. So. And it has a bleak as fuck ending.
So is the movie good though?
I remember liking the movie. I haven't seen the movie in years, but I remember liking it when I saw it. So at some point, maybe it's one of those movies that won't hold up now, because I do think they do have the kind of cliche. There are some of the stupid people like, all right, we all gotta stick together now. We gotta draw names out of a fucking hat, you know, some of that type of shit. But I remember liking it when I saw it. Maybe it's because how dark the ending actually was.
Yeah.
What happens at the end is the family, they're all driving through the fog, and I want to say the mom is dead by this point. I want to say it's the grandparents, the boy, and Thomas Jane. And they hear something coming, and the car is dead. He has a gun by this point. This whole time they've been trying to survive. And they hear just something loud. A little bit ago, they walked past this giant 12-legged monster with, you know, tentacles and shit. Just kept them walking, like, what the fuck is happening to the world? And he kind of looks at all the adults, and they all kind of, like, agree. And he shoots everybody, including his own kid. And there's no bullets left for him. And he just, like, you know, he's just crying and screaming, and he just runs out. He just
rips his shirt off, and it's the Punisher shirt.
Oh, that'd be awesome. They're just like this. Dun 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 no. Oh shit! It was a sequel after all. He's gonna punish all the monsters. No, he actually runs out. And he's like, "Take me! Take me!" All of a sudden, the fog starts to clear. That loud noise was a bunch of military trucks coming in, saving the day.
That's actually a pretty cool ending. That's pretty sweet. I like those kind of endings.
That is like, I was just like, that is bleak as fuck. But anyway, so watching this thing. So we're going back to, so okay, let's keep in mind that, all right, so it's a couple of 20-somethings in a mall running a business. Like, whatever, man, I don't
my dad gave me some money. That's what I decided. I was like, fuck you, I'm going to do something in my life, Dad. With your money, of course.
yeah, and then at some point, like, what's the big deal? What do you think those monsters are doing if we put bodies out there? I don't know. Let's fucking find out, man. And they just fucking get, like, because some people hung themselves. They put them in shopping carts. They push them out there, and they sit out there. They wait.
People fucking see gay.
This. Exactly. People see this. They get mad. Like, what the fuck? And then they're like, hey, man, we're just trying to see him. We're just trying to help out the whole crew. And then, like, they're like, all right, whatever. And then later, by the end of that episode, this is, like, double whammy. First off, the stupidest fucking shit you can do. Also, leading up to something with no real fucking payoff. So one of them, they get bored out there, like, hey, man, let's just see if we can bring something out there. So they literally go to, like, the sporting goods store and get, like, some, like, crossbows or harpoon, like, guns for fishing or some shit. They start firing it out there. I'm like, no, I got something. Let me reel it in. Like, all right, I'm going to go in there. Hold on to me. You know, he's following the cord out in the fucking fog where he knows there's fucking monsters. Let's see what's fucking going on out there. All of a sudden,
like, the cord's not meant for you to go towards. It's meant for you to reel it in.
He's climbing it. Like, one guy locked on to something. He's locked on to something. The other guy holds onto the other cord. He's like, okay, hold on to the cord while I fucking trail it out there. Just like, what the fuck? There is stupid, and then there is whatever the fuck this is. And I know earlier we were talking about we try to be positive on the show. It's one of the things we like. Every once in a while, you're like, no, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, well, TV does that a lot, though. Like, I'll say this. Movies, I generally enjoy. Television, I think, is generally more crap.
So he's fucking following this cord out there. And this is a thing with a budget, too, if keep in mind. He's following it out there, and all of a sudden the thing's pulling back. Like, what is it? What is it? All of a sudden, like, his messed up, mangled, bloody corpse comes through the window. Fog rolls in. His help! The friend comes running in. At some point, the main girl and a little girl are together, and she was, like, reading her a story because they're in, like, the bookstore or something. Fog rolls in, and we see a new monster. And I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be some crazy, fucked up looking monster. I'm realizing I just want a monster movie. That's all I really want at the end of the day. But no, what it is it's this like black smoke in the shape of a figure kind of just walking. That's all it is. Like, oh, that's kind of a fucking letdown. And it goes to the little girl. And I'm like, is it going to kill her? And it does kill her. But it's not like a real payoff. It just fucking looms over her. Her skin goes pitch black. She falls over dead. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, here's the thing. I'm not expecting the thing to stop and play hacky sack with her fucking head, but I'm expecting something, you know?
Yeah, a little bit more demented. Well, because keep in mind, it's a TV show, so TV shows are always toned down. Like, I don't care what people say. It's like, people always go, oh, TV's much better now. And no, TV's the same that it's always generally been. It's just, it's sort of slightly progressed, just like how movies have too. So no matter what, at the end of the day, most likely, you know, it's on Netflix, so it's like, I don't know, it's like, because nowadays Netflix is almost like, it's like the regular network anymore. It's not like it's this hardcore network where it's like, oh, we're going to be ballsy and risky. It's just like, no, we're, you know, making stuff. I'm not saying that there's not good stuff on there, but
I have no idea if it was like a Netflix original or something else, but I'm watching this thing, I'm like, God, this is just fucking horrible. And the one guy's like, you just can't send me out there. Like, we're banishing you out to the fucking fog or mist or whatever. It's like, you can't do it. I was trying to help. We were just trying to help. Just like, of course. It's one of those things like, it's not like, because I know we rip on rednecks and all that kind of shit, and we make fun of whatever, so it's, with the second someone makes fun of a gamer, it's not like, oh, they're making fun of gamers, but it just seems so fucking lazy and so unaware. It's kind of like, it's like such a stupid stereotype, like, okay, yeah, the guys in their fucking late 20s that run a fucking business are gonna be ones like, whatever, man, we don't fucking care. Like, the thing would even be open if it was ran by these fucking idiots.
yeah, exactly. You know, it's just like, yeah, that's like the old, or it's not like one of the old, but it's like one of those like old-fashioned like video game stereotypes. And once again, not saying that there's not people out there like it, because that's the thing about a stereotype. Stereotypes are always true. It just doesn't mean everybody's that. But it's that the you know, the gamer who's like the idiot, who's the stereotype. They're uneducated. You know, like, you know, they have no positive qualities lots of times. You know, that's almost like an old person's view of like a gamer. It's just like, what a waste of life.
And it's one of those things, because you're watching it, like, the main characters are people like middle-aged parents, and then the teenage daughter and teenage son. They got to keep it. So that's kind of like the demographic going for. Like, people in their 20s, they're fucking evil. Stay away from them. They'll get us all killed with their Mario Karting and their Halo-in and their Pac-Man-in.
Well, I suppose it's probably to the audience that they're selling it to. Probably that's like they're buying into it, and it's probably like more like the baby boomers that are watching it, going like, "Oh, that's right, fuck those kids. I didn't trust them. The other day, one of those kids was putting my groceries in the bag at the old store, and he fucking broke my eggs. That fucking little bastard. I reported him in, and hopefully he got fired. And if he's lucky, he got hung in front of the street."
Serves him right for having a fucking lip ring at the workplace.
Yeah, he doesn't want to live with that shame, you know. Fuck, I was gonna give him my knife and tell him to fucking kill himself right there. Get on his fucking knees. Pull off his fucking badge. Put it on the ground.
Then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm not back in 1940s Japan. I can't get away with that.
Yeah, apparently that was okay at one point, you know. We used to pee on him when they did that.
I miss those days.
God, was that great. You know what I mean? Like, when you had one hell of a day.
Really missed the war.
And there was some poor Japanese guy trying to kill himself, and you could just pee on him? Because what's he going to do? Get up and do something? Now he's really shamed.
He's not going to stop now. He's going to do anything. It's going to make him slit his gut quicker.
And I know I was a baby boomer when the story originally started, but the second that it kind of happened, I just got older and older.
I forgot you said baby boomer.
But, wow. How many episodes is this fucking show?
I don't know. I mean,
it sounds
like
terrible.
4 or 5.
I mean, it sounds like a good idea, but just...
It's a good idea. It's one of those things where I was watching it, and it's the usual shit they bump shoulders with. We saw briefly for a minute. Like, oh, I'm looking for my kid. Like, I know I'm a good guy, and I'm meant to be likable and relatable to, like, the parents watching, but I need to take this car so I can go out there and find my kid, even though it's important to the whole fucking group. Like, oh, right, man, well, we're a whole group, and you're just one guy looking for your kid. I don't fucking know. Well, I guess I'm going out there on my own. Okay, good luck, sir. Fuck this shit. I mean, I like survival horror, but there's some tropes. I'm just tired. I'm tired of all this, like, apocalyptic, like,
dumb characters.
I'm tired of, like, the day 1, day 2 shit. Let's jump right to year 3 of this shit. Maybe in the midst. In the movie, I want to say it was a couple of days or some shit. But like, I don't know. I'm just tired of, like, you know, this end of the world shit, and we see it at day 1. Let's just jump a few years later where these people are already fucking killed off.
Like Book of Eli.
Yeah, Book of Eli. That's like, well, that's not even a horror film, but it has a horror film.
Well, it's got horror elements in it, though.
Horror elements, yeah. The cannibalism, which throws you a curveball. For a minute, you're just like, why is he shaking his hands? What's the big deal with the hands? Like, oh shit, and that builds up after a while.
But that's not even the only part. I mean, there's other scary stuff in that movie, too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a part where she realized... Oh, yeah, well, the part where the guys try to rape her and all that. Yeah, that movie does have some horror elements to it, but it's just a fantastic movie all around. People were way too harsh on that movie when it came out.
Yeah, it's fucking... that's literally, on the Leonard Maltin scale, that's like a 4 out of 4. I kid you not. Well, I think we said that on the episode we did a retrospect on, but...
Yeah, that's like, I can't really... I remember that was a movie I was telling you, check it out. Like, I'll get to it. Like, Denzel, post-apocalyptic, sword! I'm like, I'll get to it. And you finally saw it. Like, you see what I mean? Like, I've seen the light. I know Eli can't see, but I have.
Yeah, exactly. But well, it just sounds like, and this is the thing too. I hear this all the time. People are like, you know what makes these movies better is if they were TV shows. And it's a perfect example of like, no, it does not. TV shows do not make movies better. You know what I mean? Like, I hear this thing now that's like somebody's talking about like, oh, we want to make Lord of the Rings into a TV show. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. Unless it's a Lord of the Rings spin-off series, like, here's another story that's not Lord of the Rings, it's just Lord of the Rings, like, world. Okay, that's fine, whatever. People can have that kind of stuff. But if they're literally going to remake the fucking movies again, or the books, into, like, a long, drawn-out fucking TV show, that's fucking boring and stupid. You know what I mean? And it's not going to be nearly as interesting, because you're never going to have those big battles like you fucking have in Lord of the Rings. Like, that's a movie thing. TV shows still don't have that, like, fucking budget to put cool shit like that together. You know? So it's like, why do people always want these fucking TV shows? I think it's just because people are kind of lazy. It's like, I just don't want to get up and go to the movie theater, and I want something to fill up my boring-ass life that already sucks. I mean, this is my choice in life. I could kill myself or I could binge watch. So I guess I'll binge watch because I don't have anything better to do. And
the razor blades are over there and I don't want to reach for them.
Yeah, it sounds like fucking work to go over there. Because it's like, I was once like, I don't know, it's like, the TV thing, it's like, I'm not saying that shows can't be, there is such thing as good TV shows. I just think that they're very few and far between. And most of the time, is a lot of TV shows, they just, I don't know, it's like, it's that filler crap, and then also like by having the lesser budget, you can almost just see it. Where it's like, I see where this was supposed to be a cool battle scene, and since the budget wasn't there, it's just an okay battle scene. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, and it's like, and nowadays people always say like, oh, TV's so much better than movies. I'm like, have you just not been in the movie theater in a while? What the fuck are you missing out on? Like, try to prove to me that TV's better than movies. You can't.
I'm gonna kind of bring in something for a second, and this isn't me challenging that argument or anything. I know how you feel about Walking Dead, and I have no real intention of jumping onto that show really. Ironically enough, well, we both read a little bit of the comics before the show started. Not to sound like a bunch of hipsters. We both read some of the comics before the show got rolling.
Yeah, and I read a couple of the books before the things. This is the sad part. When Walking Dead, the show originally came out, I was the only person excited about it. This was the time period where nobody knew what the fuck it was. And then I watched those first 6 episodes. I'm like, this is fucking garbage. Like, God, I was so excited. I was like Wreck-It Ralph fucking excited going into it. And I came out of it like Wreck-It Ralph. I was like, this is boring, slow, and fucking like not like what the comic books were. And also at the same time, boy, did they just focus on like all these like negative aspects.
Well, I'll say this about it, because I have not started watching the show again, but last time I was visiting, apparently my family started watching the show. And
Ryan, have you heard about the Dead Walkers?
The walking and talking to the dead? No.
Yeah, there's a show. It's got this guy named Chris Hardwick. You know, he just talks all about these zombie things. It's great. You guys watch The Walking Dead? The what? No. It's called The Talking Dead. That's what we're watching.
Fuck the other thing.
Yeah, fuck the other thing. That's stupid. That's some dumb rip-off of Night of the Living Dead. This Chris Hardwick guy. Oh, God, he's great. Ryan, why don't you strive to be more like Chris Hardwick?
I do a podcast. You gotta try harder. Be more
like
Chris Hardwick.
Like Chris Hardwick be caught dead doing a podcast, Ryan. He's got a show to do. Don't you know?
You're right. Happy Thanksgiving. Please pass the mashed potatoes. All the gravy, please. All the gravy.
Please, all the gravy. Just put your face in it.
Try to drown. No.
And then you pull it out. It's like, oh, it's fucking hot. Damn it, Mom. Why is it so fucking hot? I was trying to kill myself here.
Well, Chris Hardwick could go through with it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. He knows how to bubble in a gravy. What?
No, they really got into Walking Dead, and I said, I read some of the comics, and I actually started a whole conversation with them, like, did this part happen yet? Did that part happen yet? Is this guy still alive? Is that guy still alive? Because the comic does it takes like half the story and then does its own original thing. It's like really half and half. It really mixes it up, so people who read the comic are still surprised when they watch the show. So I just watched a couple episodes with them. And I don't remember what they're on. I think they're on season 4 or 5. And from where I was at, it was actually decent. It's not one of those shows. Now, to get all the way to season 4, I don't want to sit through how many other seasons you got to get to. However many other seasons. I just named it off. I don't want to sit through
3 other
however many. Whatever comes before 4. No, but I don't want to sit through.
Maybe there's a 1.5. Maybe there's a 0. I don't know.
Maybe do a prequel episode that takes place before. No. I don't want to sit through that many seasons to where it got good, but watching it with them, like, oh, wow, this is actually kind of good right here, and it's actually kind of brutal, and most of those characters that are dumb have been killed off by this point. And there was a part where they actually it was an interesting philosophy. They come to this new town, and there's this one guy who's trying to, like, oh, we gotta set our own rules. We can't let these outsiders come in and try and dictate, even though they know what the fuck's going on, and then main guy comes in, he's all like, oh, well, just so you know, if you're planning to throw a coup, this is how I would do it. I do it like this, do it like that. I actually have guards on the lookout for this, so just keep that in mind, and he just lets them go. And someone says, and I actually like this because they acknowledge it, he says, like, I'm surprised you let that guy live. I'm like, well, and this is also kind of a flashback. He's like, well, I realized something. I could kill him, and I should kill him, but that's going to make me look bad in front of everybody else. And he is so fucking stupid he is probably going to die on this mission tomorrow. And then it cuts the present time. Shortly after that conversation, we see that motherfucker getting mauled to death by a zombie. And then he gets a moment alone with him. The guy's screaming. He knifes him in the back of the head, just gives him this look like, fuck you. So it's like, I actually like that right there. That's actually, the show actually spoke on that. Now, granted, I don't know how, it took like 4 seasons to get to that point, but I was like, all right, that was pretty badass.
Well, I'll say this. I'm sure that there is cool moments in it. You know what I mean? It's like Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, if you fucking like edit out all this shit in there, there's an amazing story going on. It's just you got to put up with half of it being kind of like crap, and that's like the downfall. It's like 50% of the show is fucking amazing, 50% of it's crap, and I bet you that's how The Walking Dead is. I mean, there's probably moments in it it's like, this is fucking awesome, but then there's other parts where you're gonna be sitting there like, God, are you fucking wasting my time? You know what I mean? Like dragging me out in this like 20 minutes of these stupid characters I don't care about. And that's my kind of thing. It's like, see, that's why I think that's why I have a hard being somebody really into movies. It's hard to kind of get into TV shows just because like a movie that you edit that shit out. If there was like a boring 20-minute talk scene, you wouldn't put that in a fucking movie. You'd be like, this is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, get that fucking shit out of there. You know, let's get to the good stuff. And then in a TV show, you're like, well, we got the budget for this one big action scene at the end, so let's fill the next half an hour up because we got to make 45 minutes no matter what. Well, let's take Bob and Jim over here and we'll make them see what they're up to. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's, I think, what always kind of, I see that in TV shows. And I think to me, it's sort of like, it's almost like breaks the fourth wall for me because that's what I see. All I see is like, oh, I know what this means. This means somebody spent a little too much money on the previous episode and now we got to see this side crap that never has anything to do with like the main story. They'll try to bring it around like it does have something with the main story, but it doesn't. And I don't know. It's just like, that's why I have a hard time. That's why I look at like, the only shows that I really, really like at like the moment is like Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I think it's because they're like 28 minutes long, so there's no time for filler. It's like a movie almost, and you know something like the Orville, and the Orville's just dialed in some weird random way that you wouldn't expect. But that one, even though it's 45 minutes, they got that show actually fucking good. Like, and it's like it reminds me of kind of like Firefly, but like even better. Like it's like just that much more dialed in, but. I don't know, yeah, I'm not saying, yeah, I'll say it's like The Walking Dead probably has its moments in it and things like that. And even with the comic books, I got bored of the comic books because they started doing stupid shit in there too. Because, I don't know, I'm very picky about my zombie thing. Because, like, before, you know, there was a time period where you used to be ridiculed in the street for liking zombies. People kind of forget this. But there was a time period that if you were really into zombies, people looked fucking down on you. You were like the low of the low. You were the fucking, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, there's fucking nerds over there, and then you're below that. You're like, fucking down there, you know what I mean? Like, that's how like bad it was. I mean, it was like being an Irish person in like Italian town 1800s. You know what I mean? You were just fucking looked down upon. Nobody fucking liked you. And that's how it was when you used to like zombies. And this wasn't even that long ago. This was like pre-2008. You know what I mean? Like, that time period, you was like, oh, you're gonna go watch a zombie movie? What the fuck's wrong with you? Oh, you like Resident Evil? You fucking loser. You know what I mean? Like, that's almost how people treated you. Like, you couldn't even, like, talk about zombies out loud, or people would, like, go, oh, there's those freaks out there talking about zombies. Like, oh, look, they're planning on, like, what they would do if zombies really came. What a bunch of fucking assholes, you know what I mean? So, like, I remember those days, and I remember them well, because it's like, that's how it was. It's like, if you liked Resident Evil, if you were into, like, fucking Night of the Living Dead, and this was still even, like, probably, well, I mean, I guess 28 Days Later would have been around this same time, too. That was kind of, like, I guess, like, a little bit of an icebreaker. These zombies,
they run, though. They run, and it's in England, so it's different.
And they're not technically zombies. That's why I let that movie kind of slide. But, you know what I mean? Like, so there was that period like that. And it's funny because now everything's like, oh, I love zombies. And it's like, I always look at those people and I go, fuck you. No, you fucking don't. Fuck you. You're the guy that would have said your ideas are fucking stupid. Why do you even like this fucking made up bullshit? And now you're walking around with a Walking Dead t-shirt on like you always fucking liked. I think that's also kind of what bothers me about it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody, oh, I'm a big zombie fan now. Look at me. I'm doing the zombie walk. But I kid you not, probably in high school, I would have fucking, like, ridiculed anybody who liked it. I would have called them a fucking fag and told them to suck their own dick, because they probably did. You know? And it's just, I think that's what's so, it always kind of makes me laugh, you know, when you see that sort of stuff, is that somebody could, like, fucking hate on things. I mean, I think we mentioned this joke the other day when Brandon was on the fucking show, where there was just like the kids at school and they're like, oh, fucking comic books are so fucking gay. Yeah, fuck comic books. Yeah, they're stupid. Hey, you guys want to go see the new X-Men movie tonight? Fuck yeah, let's go see the new X-Men movie tonight. And like, it's so funny how that sort of is. It's like people can fucking hate on something for so long, and all of a sudden something comes by and it kind of like, And I mean, I guess, like, here's the thing. The people that probably put down anybody who liked zombies back in the day obviously probably never really watched the zombie thing. They probably never really played a zombie video game. They never really got into it. So I think that's kind of how it is. It's easy to hate on stuff you don't really know anything about. Mm-hmm. But it just makes me kind of laugh that it kind of, like, it comes full circle, and all those people that would have, like, never got even close to fucking watching Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead, never fucking would have played a Resident Evil game, any of this stuff. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm the biggest Walking Dead fan ever. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doo.
It's just like whenever like some town has the zombie walk going on, just everybody in unison, like a whole like just zombie march of that.
Well, the funny thing too is this thing: the people that do the zombie walks are probably all the people that probably put down people for liking zombies in like the early 2000s and 90s and so on. And all the people that like zombies before like the popularity of zombies happened aren't at the zombie walks. That's why I think it makes me laugh too.
I remember you were talking about going out there, like, when one of the zombie walks going on, you're just so mad at the concept of a zombie walk. Just like, fucking zombie walk, fucking bullshit. Fucking bullshit. And you were...
It goes against everything we fought for.
And you were considering about going out there and getting, like, water balloons and doing a drive-by, like, we're zombie hunters! Just throwing them at them.
Paintball guns and everything.
You were talking about doing that, but then, like, I think somebody talked you down. Was like, dude, we could literally, in this town, we could literally get arrested for that. Just like,
well, in any town, you probably could get arrested for it.
We
might get shot for that.
It's a very Second Amendment heavy town. So, I just remember you just being so like amped up, like, I think we want to do it. I think we want to fucking do it. And someone talked you down, I'm like, fine, let's go play Resident Evil. Fuck it.
Let's go remember the good old days before people were allowed to, like, do whatever they want. No.
Well, I'm not even... I think it's one of those things, there were people like that. I don't think even most people who watch Walking Dead were just kind of like, I fucking hate zombies. Oh, the Walking Dead show's good. I don't think it's even that. I think you definitely have those people. And those people definitely do exist. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I just had to give it a chance. And I'm just going on this version that's not as good as other movies. But at the same time... Keep in mind, Walking Dead came out, like, I think in, like, 2010 or 2009, somewhere around there. And since then, it feels weird saying this, but since then, younger people were, like, in elementary school around that time, grew up probably not supposed to watching The Walking Dead, probably watched it from behind their parents' couch. And then now they're, like, in high school or early college, possibly, and... they're diehard zombie fans because that was their Night of the Living Dead. So those people exist, but I do know what you mean. There's that whole thing about like, oh, I can't like this thing because only fucking nerds like it. Well, everyone else wants to go see the new Marvel movie? I guess I'll go see the new Marvel movie. Oh, wow, the Marvel movie was actually good. How about that shit? We're going to give the comic book a chance? No, fuck the comic. I mean, I'm sure they probably changed it so it made it cool and there's no reading. So I know those guys exist, but I'm not,
And no, that's just like the same way like it is. I mean, like, it's the same exact thing probably, but with that. And maybe that's like why...
I guess... go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that's also maybe like what also gives me like that sort of like secondary like resentment. Like, first off, I just didn't really care for the show in the first place. I just thought it was boring because... that's lots of times how TV shows kind of let you down like that. But secondly, I feel like I have that resentment, just kind of like, fuck these people. Like, I don't want to be part of these people's club that, you know what I mean, weren't there, like, part of, like, our original club, and now they started this brand new club, and now this brand new club's, like, way bigger than the old club was, and they think they're better than us. Like, I don't know, it's got that weird kind of feel. Not like there's any of that going on, but that's almost like sort of how it was. Like, almost like liking... there was a period where, like... and I don't know, this always sounds hipstery, and I know it has nothing to do with fucking history, but you go, like... there was a time period where liking zombies thing was, like... it was cool, man, because, you know, almost nobody did it. You could go fucking hang out, like, a pizza joint and, like, plan your fucking, like, escape route just in case if it ever happened, like, what you were gonna do. And now fucking everybody's doing it. Fuck those people.
Hipster zombie.
You know, so it's like that, but that's how it was, though. It's like, dude, it's like... I just remember it's like... you know, nobody would just you just couldn't fucking start spouting out zombie things like in public. Fucking like they wouldn't trust you. They'd be like, oh, those are some of them Columbine boys over there.
I think it's also just the town we grew up in. It was way more
conservative. Well, I don't think it's just our town, though. You always say that, but I don't think so. I think that it was probably like that almost all over America. I'm not going to use any other country for that matter.
I'll say this. I do believe it was like that more so than it is today. But at that same time, I remember, being in middle school and liking, video games and anime and having my, like, friends' parents not be judgmental towards it. And then I remember coming to Sonora, and you'd have to be careful when you, depending on the parents, you said that shit around, They would be like, well, what's this cartoon shit you guys are watching? I don't fucking get it. And so I did notice a difference. Now, that was always there to some extent, I'm sure. But I noticed it a little bit more in a more conservative community. So something where they don't have the fucking internet access. I mean, not a lot of people did up there. But
yes, hell, still people don't have a whole lot of internet access.
So it's one of those things. The second you talk about like how much you like zombies, like you mean the blood sucking people that turn into bats? Like those are fucking vampires. It's a difference.
They're getting that confused again.
Yeah, you mean the band, the zombies? Well, they're okay, but no, I don't mean them.
That's not really what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, yeah, there always is that kind of weird thing, and it's one of those ones that's weird. Like sometimes people could like watch, like it's not like Night of the Living Dead was necessarily like ridiculed. I think it's more just like when you got like really obsessive into it, like when you were like really into like zombies and things like that. I think that's where like it put people off. I guess it's no different. I guess if you're really into vampires, it'd put people off, and then vampires kind of get their popularity back. And if you're really into, if you get really into anything, it puts people off, except for sports. That's the only thing you can be extremely obsessive with, and people don't fucking judge you for it for some reason.
Yeah, and I don't even mind like hardcore sports fans. That's just the thing where the idea that you could be obsessively. I know people who are more obsessed with football than I am with like Marvel and DC, and they can name like stats and this player and who he got traded to and this whole history of this team and this coach, and like it's one of those things like, yeah, I can name writers of comics and this character's history with that character's history, but that sounds like there's a lot more people, a lot more shit to keep up with in sports. So the fact you know that and you're not involved in that industry in any way, that not saying that that's a problem, not talking shit on that. But when that person gives me shit for liking something fictional, it's just like, yeah, what's... I mean, I'll be honest, one sounds nerdier than the other to me, in all honesty, because what I want to do, actually, I want to get involved in writing comics and drawing comics, where someone who just obsessively watches it, which is fine, that is totally fine, I'm not trying to stop anybody from doing that, but when that guy who has this ridiculous obsession far beyond my own comes in and says, like, that's a bunch of faggot shit. Just like, oh, go fuck yourself, dude.
Well, to me, I just always feel like, I don't care what it is. It doesn't really matter what you're into, but to be super fucking obsessed with something, but then, like, have that, like, not be your kind of career path is fucking weird to me. You know what I mean? Because I'm, like, the kind of person, like, if I started watching fucking baseball and I spent some time watching it, I'd be like, I guess I gotta start playing baseball. And then I'd be like, I guess I gotta start getting in the minor leagues. Like, that's how my brain would work. Like, I'm not one of those kind of people that, like, I can't just do something for the old heck of it. I guess I'll just do it. No, I go the distance. So, maybe that's also another reason, like, why I don't really watch sports, because next thing you know, I'd be fucking down. And I know I'm not gonna be playing baseball anytime soon. I guess probably not at all, unless I get fucking robot parts. But, and that to me is always the weird thing, is like when people have this fucking, like, dire knowledge of these sport things, but it's like, you're not a... I mean, when I say professional player, I mean, like, you don't get paid to do it. You don't mean you have to be, like, in the major leagues, but you could be in the minor leagues. You could be in some kind of, like, offshoot version. As long as you're getting paid for it, I get that. But if you got all this fucking knowledge, you watch fucking football religiously every Sunday and all this kind of stuff, but you're not betting on them, you're not trying to make a profit off them, you're not writing fucking blogs that's going to get paid. You know what I mean? Like, that to me is weird, to just like something that much, but have no, like, almost, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess you would. That's obviously a hobby by that standard, but it's just weird to go that far of a distance and just know that there's like almost like no profit being made, no like, oh, this is gonna like further take my career somewhere or something like that. And that maybe that's just the way I think. I'm just one of those kind of people. I have a hard time doing something that I know doesn't like help me out.
To play devil's advocate on that for a minute, I noticed a lot of people like that. I think for people who are that diehard into football or baseball or whatever, I feel like that's almost like movies for them. That's kind of like they might go see a movie or they might go watch whatever, some random TV show, but that's not the same thing as sports is for them. you know. So watching for them the next Niners game or the next Raiders game, that is like the next Batman movie to them. So I feel like that because every once in a while you'll talk to some people, and it's like it just sounds so fucking boring to me. And once again, I'm not trying to be a judgmental dick. It's just, you know, this side of the fence. But you'll talk to somebody, they'll be like, yeah, you know what? I'm never really liked science fiction. Oh, does this seem kind of like nerdy or something? Like it's not real, and I'm not really into things that aren't fucking real, and it's just hard for me to like look past something that's never gonna happen in real life. Which, if that's their viewpoint, that's their viewpoint. But the guys that say that are the same guys who are very obsessive with like sports. I noticed, so that's probably the closest thing they get to like excitement over some big movie or something. Like for them, they're not looking forward to the next big blockbuster or the next big comic or something. Oh, fuck no, this guy's not looking forward to a comic. But that's what it is. The Super Bowl is his like big fucking deal, whereas it's just like, oh, you mean this thing that takes up half a fucking day because of the fucking commercials, and you gotta...
Yeah, the commercialism and the fucking... No, and I get that. Like, I'm not saying, like, I think, like, but that still doesn't come back to the point of, like, you know what I mean? Like, the reason why I looked at, like, why I'm so obsessed with movies is because I do movies, and I create things that are story-oriented and things like that. If I didn't create stuff like that, I don't think I would be nearly as into movies and comic books and video games as I am if I didn't create. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I say. And that's how I kind of look at sports. I'm like, if I'm going to go the fucking distance where, like, I'm going to have my fucking house filled with sports memorabilia, I'm going to, like, go to the games, I'm going to watch it every fucking Sunday, every Thursday and Friday, and whatever fucking other days they decide to put sports on these days. Like, I'm doing all that. Like, to me, it just seems weird to have that much obsession, but, like, be, like, not like, oh, this is part of my job. Like, oh, I'm a fucking... I don't mean, once again, I'm not saying you gotta be fucking, like, you know, quarterback of fucking the 49ers or something like that. I'm just saying, like, no, like, what if you, like... work the fucking ticket stands, or what if you fucking are an umpire, or what if you're fucking like making merchandise, or you know what I mean, like get like, you know, take the next step, like make that like your career, make that your lifestyle, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, and I'm not saying like we can all like have like sort of like, I guess you could say our hobbies, but a lot of times for me, like everything I mostly does all benefits each other. Like I really don't feel like I have hobbies for the fact that like I consider a hobby something that you do not because you really expect it to, like, pay off. You just almost do it for more the fun of it. You know what I mean? If it did pay off, that's kind of cool, but that's not the reason you do it. That's what I consider a hobby, between, like, a hobby and a career. A career is, like, you know, you're going towards something. You know what I mean? Like, you do stuff because it's going to further involve you farther down the line. And even something it sounds as weird. I mean, it's hard to explain this to regular people sometimes, or non-artsy creative people, but that sounds fucking... But, like, you know, like, watching DVD special features, that's, like, fucking education, you know what I mean? That's, like, no different than cracking open a book, you know, a textbook or something like that, and furthering your thing, whatever you're into. That's how I kind of look at that. Like, you know, even just going to the movie theater, that right there, that's education. I know some people think that's kind of weird, but, like, if you're doing storytelling and you're making videos and you're making movies and comics and everything like that, it's education. And that's how I look at, like, if I was, like, you know, into sports and things like that, and if I went to, like, all these games, it's like, I feel like that's my education. I'd be like, you're watching the players, you're getting down the moves and everything like that. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, going to a game's not fun. Like, I love going to, like, something like fucking, like, hockey. That's a sport I can get behind a little bit more. I mean, I will say this, I can't sit down and watch hockey fucking every week. I feel like I don't have that kind of free time because it's not going towards my career. So it's tough for me to like do something that I realize that's like, okay, so I'm going to spend 3.5+ hours, you know, a couple times a week for something that's not going to further me farther in life. That's hard for me to comprehend. I know that most people don't see things like that. You know, most people just go, oh, but it's my relaxed time. And it's like, I don't really have that kind of... I wish I did. I almost am slightly envious of people that can just kind of sit back and go, I'm just going to kick it on the beach and whip my dick out and, you know, call it good. You know, because to me, all I would be doing is...
You can still do that if you feel like it.
I'd be laying on the beach and be like, okay, I got sand here. I guess I could start calculating out things. Let's see, what can I start drawing? I'm going to start storyboarding here. Like, I would be that guy. I'm like the fucking Disney dad who, like, when they're off on a fucking vacation, I'm still trying to do fucking work.
You're Robin Williams, just trying, how do you think we're going to pay for this RV?
Yeah, exactly. I'm up there, like, fucking standing on the cliffs trying to get fucking cell phone service to send my memos off or whatever I need to do.
On your early 2000s, like seashell, like clamshell phone.
Yeah, on the old flippy phone. But
No,
so that, I mean, that's just me. I think that's more just my mindset. Like, I don't have that. I think there's a lot of people. It's just like, I go to work, I fucking hate it, but it's you gotta do it because that's what Dad said, that's what Grandpappy said, that's what Great Grandpappy said. He said, you fucking work in that factory. That factory's been there since before you were born. It's been good to us. You know what I mean? It might not be the best work, but it's always been there. It's always been there. That factory's for part of the family. So I think some people's like that. So it's like I come home, I crack open a beer, I throw the game on, I kick my feet up, I whip my dick out. It's all good.
I like it's that combination of things. Just beer out, feet
up,
NFL's on, dick out.
Are you beating that dick off? Nah, the dick needs to relax too. Just there. I like old Johnny there to be able to watch.
Just old flappy cock, just hanging on.
It just kind of like fucking pokes up like once the game comes on, it pokes up like a fucking head, like a snake looking around.
Like a fucking cobra.
Watches the ball go back and forth. He fucking puts the beer down, gives it a sip.
If you put peanut butter on top of it, it'll just be trying to eat it forever.
Yeah, exactly. The lip smacking.
Dog.
Kind of it's like dick lip smacking just gets to me, so I don't give him peanut butter anymore.
Just trying to sleep and just hear. God damn it!
God damn it! Fucking Johnny!
Smack it to stop. Oh, it's hard now. Fuck.
Oh, god damn it! Hit it too many times.
Fuck,
and I mean, like, I'll say this: like, some people, instead of doing like sports, it could be video games. You know what I mean? Like, they're not playing video games because they're like, oh, I'm gonna fucking design video games one day, or I'm gonna write for video games, or even like, because I mean, video games, it's another form of storytelling. So I go, you can play video games and you can go into making movies or comics or any of that kind of stuff. They just play video games because like, fuck work, fuck life, I'm coming home, this is my escapism. And I at the same time, I get that. I just have a hard time. Like, I feel like I still have to have it. Like I ask myself, how is this like progressing my career? How am I going farther? I know that sounds like such a fucking like workaholic, almost might even sound partially capitalist, even though I try not to be.
I will say there was a period where this goes back like a while back. This goes back like freshman year of high school, where I was on the football team, and I was trying really hard just to click in. And
yeah, just like throw the old pigskin around.
Exactly, and people like relatives were really excited about that. Oh my god, he's putting the comic book shit down. He's actually getting he's interested in actual active shit. How about that? And I'll be honest, I'll say this: I'm glad I joined the football team because doing that routine every day for like a good 4 months or whatever made me get in much better shape. And weight fluctuates up and down, but that at least got me out of my like definite like hey guys like fat kid state, which I was in for a long time. So I'm glad I did that, and plus I made some friends out of it. So I'm not going to say there's negatives. I'm not going to say it's all negative in that aspect, but I will say I was trying really hard to be into football, trying really fucking hard to the point where how I collect Batman shit and Nintendo stuff and Rolling Stone stuff, the way I collect that stuff, all that, I was doing that with 49ers memorabilia. And I was really twisting my own arm into watching football games and trying to, memorize players' names and plays and, and like whenever a conversation would come up about the Niners and how they played, I would just be like, oh yeah, what was that player's name? And he made that touch. Well, they had that interception, but then like...
the Mexican fella.
Yeah. The gentleman with the dreadlocks. Yeah. So...
yeah.
Boy, he runs fast. No. So it was just one of those things where I really... And like, you'd always get like the one asshole. You'd be like, do you really know anything about football? It's like, I just don't know these. Sorry, there's like 30 fucking people that I just watched the other night. I can't memorize all their fucking names. So I have trouble with 12 people. So 30 people all at once, that's not gonna go through my fucking head. So, go fuck yourself. Go fuck this. I'm done. I'm fucking tired of this shit. Because I would find myself in these conversations. And it was high school, so things were naturally a little bit more antagonistic. But at the same time, you would get are you really into football? Like, as time, like... no, you're right. I'm actually not that fucking into it. I'm just trying to just really try. I didn't say this to him, but like, yeah, I just realized I'm not really that into it. I'm really just twisting my own arm and forcing myself to like it. And don't get me wrong, if there's a good game on and it's intense and it's just moving, it's fun to watch. But I believe that's any sport. And thing with hockey, I mean, I'm not dedicated enough to learn all the players' names and all that. But whenever I watch a hockey game and there's the thing with hockey, they're always moving. That puck is always moving around, and someone's always getting punched in the fucking face. And that is fun to watch. Whenever I go to a Sharks game, I have a great fucking time. Do I know the name of the players? No. But the Sharks, watching them play, I think it's just this weird mix. These big angry brutes with sticks bashing each other in the fucking face, yet there's this weird grace to like skating. This thing I could never fucking do. But seeing like this thing, it takes so much dedication and so much focus, at least for me. And then just see them just be like these fucking hulking monsters. Like, get the fuck over to the fucking fuck mine! Fuck you! Score!
and then fucking grace off after that. Like after that,
like
they fucking
skating backwards,
doing it like what do you call that? Where you do the spin thing. It's like fuck. It's got like the most gayest sounding name, but like it's in figure skating. But whatever. Like they just fucking take off and go, and it's just like well, not figure eight, but that's not a fucking gay sounding name, but you know what I mean though. It's like pirouette or something like that. I'm drawing a blank, but. Yeah, no, that's how it is. And I mean, like, seriously, it's like, like any sport, like, when that football game's going, like, there's great moments in it. Like, and I'm always kind of people, like, I don't know, maybe it's just the way I kind of am. I'm like, if you had, like, just kind of like the edited down version, like, instead of watching the game for 3.5 hours, if you just gave me, like, the highlight reel almost for, like, 10 minutes, I guess you could see where that's pretty interesting, but I guess when seeing it build up. And so on. But almost, I feel like in this conversation, what we're almost getting down to is this is almost how we can break it down. There's people that like story more, and there's people that like realism more. At the end of the day, and I'm not saying that you can't like both, but you almost fall more into one or the other category. Like, what do you like more? Do you like having a story, having characters, having like suspending disbelief? Or do you want full-on realistic, fuck the story, let's just like see what happens like in like a game or something like this? Like, I think that's also like why like it's like UFC. Like, as much as I fucking love martial arts movies and martial arts like lifestyle and everything about it, I watch the UFC and I always just find it kind of boring. And I'm not saying like I dislike it. Like, once again, there can be a cool moment in like a fight, but at the end of the day, it's like I watch that and I go like, why is this not as cool as like Bruce Lee? Why is this not as cool as Jackie Chan? Why is it not like Jet Li? You know what I mean? Like, why is it not like a Donnie Yen picture? I watch that and it's just like, those are so cool to me. But then I watch this and I watch these guys and it's like, it just almost looks like two fucking roosters like fighting each other, kicking each other in the shin. And then every once in a while it's like, they don't do anything but fucking like slap each other on the head for 5 minutes and then do that again. It's like, okay, you guys ever going to get close enough to actually hit each other? You ever going to take down? And it's like, and I know that sports are mostly, they're always based like, it's like if you watch a sport for 3 hours, at the end of the day, everything was based off of like 5 minutes of like actual stuff that mostly happens. Not saying that a game can't be like really exciting, but if you really kind of break down a sport, that's almost like how, and I think that's how people like it. It's like, they don't remember, like, see, I see it and I go, God, remember the 3 hours we just sat around and nothing really happened? They're like, yeah, but remember that one takedown? I'm like, well, yeah, that was cool, but the other like 2 hours and 57 minutes were kind of boring.
Yeah, well, it's also one of those things where, I mean, I could watch boxing and get into boxing. Where UFC and MMA, for instance, even though I love Joe Rogan, watching it, I think if you're really into a lot of the physical aspect, and I mean that because, when we watch martial arts, it's just fun because you get to see them get up close. Now, I'm going to say, realistically, UFC, it's probably a more adequate way to fight because it's all grappling and getting someone in a fucking lock. Mm-hmm. So, and that's what it kind of becomes. It's like they'll throw a few kicks, through a few little slaps, and then they get someone in a lock.
And if they just really like get their fucking balls in their face until the other guy gives up, and then
until they just drag their taint across up and down their nose until the other guy just can't fight anymore, or the ref calls it. And don't get me wrong, there is talent, there is skill in that, and only a few people in the world can do that. So I understand why people like it. But at the same time, it's just, I don't know, maybe because I grew up on so much fiction, or maybe because I grew up watching, if I am watching a fight, like a realistic fight, like boxing can still be fun. But I think because, there's that moment where they're punching and they stop, they're just hugging each other for a minute, they push away, they go back to boxing. So, I mean, nothing's going to be as cool as like an over-the-top action scene in a movie, and I know that. And I know that's not real. And I know there's some people like, no, that's what's more interesting is this real thing, because that's really fucking happening. That's a real man out there just 2 men at the fucking battling for the fucking title. Like, no, I fucking get it, and that is cool. But when it becomes down to the competition of who's gonna, like, you know, suffocate the other with his butt cheeks or his balls first, that's where it gets a little bit more like, all right, let's cut to the chase here. Who, you know.
Well, it's weird because, like, here's the thing. I can watch a sports movie, and it's like, I could be all over that fucking, like, yeah, this is fucking great. You know what I mean? And I think it's at the end of the day, it's the story element. Because that's what I always say. I'm like, because here's the thing. About the only sport that I ever really got into was wrestling. And the reason why I assumed that I liked wrestling is because it has all the elements I like. It's got story. It's got characters. And it's one of those ones because, like, in wrestling, almost like, all these things kind of lead you, like, I think it's when you watch UFC and you see these guys, you go like, that guy doesn't look like he's in that good of shape. It's because I'm used to, like, the blown out of proportion, I guess you could almost say, bodybuilders of, like, and wrestlers that have these, like, larger than life physiques, which technically, as far as fighting goes, isn't really going to help you out. You know, there's a saying that they always say that, like, fighters, like, ride chickens, meaning that, like, fighters don't have big legs because big legs are not going to fucking help you at all in a fight. You know, it's like Navy SEALs don't fucking have big legs. That's why they do a lot of kettlebell exercises and so on. Because you know, if you fucking went in there with fucking Hulk Hogan-like legs, it's not gonna be the most practical. You know, the only thing that's gonna be practical, I guess, is stomping on some guy's face once he's already on the ground. But other than that, it doesn't matter. But it's weird because once you build these expectations up from wrestling, you just see these like 155-pound like fucking Mexican guy with shaved head versus another 155-pound like Irish man with shaved head, and they're fighting each other. And you're like, that's what it is? That looks like a fight. That looks like if you had a fight at school and you just ripped each other's like shirts off and like left their boxers on and just like had them go at it on like the fucking field. Like, I don't know. It's like can I get like a little bit like can the guys like come running in and fucking have like the Tyrotron going off and fucking flashing lights and his fucking music video playing and he's up there cheering to the audience and he fucking jumps in and grabs the mic and goes on like a 5-minute speech before the match even begins? Like, I feel like I would like that much more. If they did that in football and all of a sudden like fucking Kaepernick gets up on the mic and is like, well, let me tell you what this is going to be all about tonight. I
am taking a knee. Oh, fuck!
And you know what? Fuck you all! And like he fucking slams that thing down and fucking storms out of there and his fucking music plays and fucking lights are going off and everything like that. I think I'd be way more interested in it. I think that's what's kind of missing. And and I know obviously the people that like realistic stuff, you know what I mean? The people that are more grounded in real life, they're like, no, fuck that. I do not want him running out there in spandex, fucking, you know, cheering on the audience, fucking giving kids and the, you know, in the audience sunglasses and shit. No, I just want him to play the fucking game, what he's paid there to do. I don't want to see his fucking speech or anything like that. And it's like, no, that's like, I don't know. I think we need more of that. Like, you know what I mean? That's what we need. I think that's the thing. But I know that's not for the audience that they're going for. The audience that they want does not want fucking storylines. And I think it's almost what like separates like the wrestling from like the regular sports, you know, because there's really not any other sport that's out there that has like that much like storyline and all kinds of like other stuff thrown into it. And but at the end of the day, that's what I like. You know what I mean? That's why like I love a fucking Donnie Yen movie more than like you know, yeah, that Donnie Yen fight, yeah, it's all choreographed and everything like that, but it looks fucking badass. It looks sick, and there's a story to back it up. And Donnie Yen's got a cool outfit on. You know, he's got these fucking sick jeans. He's got his leather jacket on and whatnot, and he's fucking running up the side of walls and shit. And it's like in that UFC match, it's just a bunch of guys in their fucking underwear, like, you know, slapping each other's dicks and then like wrestling each other to the ground. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm not saying anything against the talent or anything like that. I'm just thinking like, maybe it's just my expectation through life has just been built up way too much by movies, video games, books, comics. Like, it just sets you up for almost like unrealistic like expectations in real life. You know what I mean?
I'm wondering. Here's like an honest question right here. I'm wondering what the very person we're talking about, and the people we're not talking about. We're not trying to talk shit on them and challenge their values. But the people that aren't really that much into media and aren't really into storytelling and just want to see an interesting, cool fight and all that. Not interesting, cool fight, just a good game and just focus more on that, whatever it may be, whether it be UFC, NFL, MLB, whatever. MLB, MBL.
Major League Baseball?
Yeah, Major League Baseball, yeah, MLB, okay. Anyway, I'm curious to know, assuming they made it past the pawn shop talk, if they got to this, you're like, and would they be like, that's an interesting view, or I never thought it that way. Like, oh, these fucking nerds. I wonder what it is. Maybe it's a little bit of both.
Well, it's like those ones like, it would be fun to bring on somebody who was like legitimately a full-on like realistic person who really likes sports a lot and could just kind of like just explain it, just really well. Because it's like, I'm just trying to like break it down because it's like, that's what I'm thinking about here. It's like,
I feel like I already understand why they like it. I get
why they like it, but it's just that sort of thing, like almost like that characteristics of like why go so far into it if it's not going to further your like life, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Just go up to him, just like, serious question here. Why the Patriots over Captain America?
Yeah, almost like that. They both stand up for, well, I don't know if they both stand for justice, but Patriots are a little bit of the shady team of football, if there's any shady team out there, but...
The fact we know that right there, that's one of those things. Like, didn't Guy Dossey go on his whole rant about how he thinks that, like, they were rigged to win because 9/11 happened that one year, and it happened a couple of years in a row where they won or some shit? I don't know. Like that.
I feel any team that does really well is always going to have a higher chance of winning because they're always going to have a little bit more money. And that doesn't necessarily mean that money makes for better stuff, but money still helps out a bit. I think it still kind of makes everything seem a little bit better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you going to play harder if you're not getting paid nearly as much? Why are you going to, if you don't have all the extra... I mean, because this one's like, you don't actually need the gear. It's like, perfect example. I'm going to use the fucking movie reference because that's all I have. You taking Rocky 4, okay? You got Rocky versus Dolph Lundgren. And Dolph Lundgren's using all the fucking... He's using the best technology. He's using Soviet science. He's doing everything possible. He's fucking, like, getting in there. And then Rocky's doing it fucking primal. He's running up hills. He's lifting stuff in the barn. He's got fucking Paulie there to yell at him. It's like, that's as far as he's going. And he still can win. So I'm not saying that you don't always need technology to win, but realistically, and I think in real life, it's more the other way around. I think that if you don't have that fucking heart of Rocky, and you don't have that fucking storyline to back you up, I just think the average person's not going to try their hardest to fucking... Unless it's a single-person sport. That might be different. If it's like an Olympic thing or something like that, I feel like you can kind of get a little bit more away. But if you're playing in the NFL and so on, and you're this team thing, and like, it's like the story of Moneyball. At the end of the day, it's like you got the poor A's that get fucking not a whole lot of cash, which we all know what that looks like at that stadium there. And I always love the A's, but... You see how that, like, a team like the Yankees, which doesn't matter where the fuck you are in the world, somebody's got a Yankee cap on, which just means that was $25 that went right back to New York at the end of the day. Because that's how I look at that. It's like, every single time you see that, but do you see somebody with the fucking A's cap in China? No, unless they had to get rid of a bunch of World Series ones that didn't fucking go anywhere. And they're like, I guess we'll go drop these off in Africa.
Yeah, you see a plane just like dropping, just all these hats sprinkling across the sky. Yeah. No, so, I guess that's the thing. I mean, we won't get into the whole like sports politics. What do people like this? What do people like that? But I guess that's the thing. Like when you see someone with a Yankees hat and they don't live in New York. Like if you live in New York, you live in that area, I get it. But all the way over here, it's just like. It's kind of like, it's like rooting for the rich kid. That's the thing. That's how I feel. You're rooting for the rich kid, where I give it up to A's fans, because A's hang in there. Fucking Raiders are even leaving Oakland and saying, yo, I know you guys are really dedicated, but fuck you, going to Vegas.
Yeah, fucking money involved, fuck you guys.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, so that's kind of how it is. But no, I think at the end of the day, it is just sort of like, I think it is based off, like, do you like storytelling more? Or do you like realism more? And at the end of the day, I know myself, like, I like storytelling more. And then also, too, but I guess that's not necessarily, like, what I feel like I'm getting at more than anything. I feel it's like, it's still that weird concept of getting super obsessed. I mean, I guess that's, like, what you would call a fan more than anything else. Is somebody who's, like, they just like it because they like it. They don't like it because they want to do it. They just like it because that's what they're just into. And maybe it's just like I've just never really had that, because as I said, like if I got super into fucking sports, I feel like, oh, I guess I gotta go play this now. Like what am I doing, doing any of this other stuff? Obviously, if I'm really this far into sports, I gotta fucking go out there, and I guess I'm getting my hot, though I never really learned to skate on the ice too well, I guess it's time for me to get up there and do it.
I said this before, and I won't go into the whole story again, but I think I would have, if I actually learned how to skate when I was younger, I probably would have got into hockey, because I always had fun playing like field hockey or hockey like by foot. Always had fun as a kid, and I was always actually pretty good at it. So if it came down, it was like as soon as you got on the skates, it was just like, oh shit, how's this gonna happen? So
I know, like I was lucky enough to go around in circles on the ice rink. That was already a challenge in itself. But I just start getting like, the problem I have is I start getting like the Woody Allen thoughts of like, oh my god, I'm here on the ice right now and everybody's going around. They got blades on their feet. Well, what if I fall down? Can I trust the other people to come by? Are they gonna be able to dodge me? Or are they just gonna run me over? Are they gonna slice me up like a sandwich?
That happened to me like a few years ago. Some friends talked me into going ice skating with them. Roller skating is one thing, but then I realized ice skating was a whole other deal because like everyone has blades on their feet, and I fall down with first thing to hit the ground is my fucking fingers. I'm like, I write and I'm a cartoonist. What the fuck am I doing out here? That was my first thought. Like if I didn't work with my fingers, this wouldn't be a big deal, but. Fuck, what am I doing? I'm just like, okay, I already paid like $15 for the rentals and be here for a while, but fuck this, I'll meet you guys outside. I'm gonna go.
Yeah, where's your arcade at?
I'll be drinking hot cocoa by the Donkey Kong machine. Okay.
Yeah, no, well that's how I am nowadays. Like literally, I look at everything like there's fucking death involved, and I just kind of like stay away from things like that because it's like, once again, it's not furthering my career. That's how I look at it. It's like, that's where I even feel like even playing sports. Like I think it's kind of weird to go out and like just. Like, it's like, you got no health insurance. It's like, it's like, I'm just going to go play fucking, like, Little League, or not Little League, what do they call it? Like, adults.
if I go in Little League, I have a chance of winning.
Yeah.
Don't mind me, like, just a 29-year-old coming in to play some Little League, set that tee up, bam, home run, yeah. Fuck you, just jogging from base to base. Fuck you, Billy! Give me a high C! Fuck off!
Take that high C, fucking slam it down.
Billy's mom brought Rice Krispie treats? Fuck yeah!
Just like fucking, like, you're like doing the fucking X-Pac fuck symbol to like Billy's mom. Like, Billy's mom has got it going on. She's got the Rice Krispies and she's fucking super hot. Show me your tits! Just all the kids stand there like, Dad? No, softball. That's what I'm trying to say here.
This guy just elbows his way through the kids to come out and play this game. It's the only way I'm going to win is I'm playing against a bunch of fucking little leaguers.
But no, I just look at like softball and I'm like, even that in itself, I'm like, that sounds fucking dangerous. You're just going to end up injuring yourself and you don't got fucking insurance or anything that's going to cover it. And like, what's that going to do? It's not going to help you in the future. Then you're going to have a bad knee and then you're going to have a bad knee the rest of your life.
Why'd it go from Woody Allen to Scottish?
I don't know. Did it go to Scottish? It didn't really sound like that to me, but maybe it did.
Bad city in life. I don't know. It just sound like maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just the delay in the audio. I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but it's like, yeah, I look at those sort of things in life, and maybe just the average person does not question death like at every turn. But
to make this, I know this has been a little bit more of a personal episode, but to make it current, speaking of death and life and what to do with it, I know that seems a very forced way into the conversation. I know you saw Coco.
Oh yeah, I did see Coco. That was a really good movie.
Do you want to talk about that, or are we just gonna wrap it up?
I don't know. You just like derailed my fucking.
I'm sorry. I thought you were done with it.
No, that's okay. We don't have
to.
You obviously, you don't want to talk about it, so that's okay.
Well, no. It's one of those things. I thought we were done. I thought we were nailing. Like, I don't get why people want to do. I think we just both been saying, I don't get why people want to do this. So sorry if I derailed it. I thought we kind of covered that. If you wanted anything else you want to finish.
Oh no! By this point, it's all said and done, I guess. So no, we'll go on. We'll talk about your Coco.
I'm sorry.
I know it probably reminds you. You thought about Coco when you're ice skating, and you're like, oh, that reminds me of that movie Coco. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that I saw, and I was also thinking about like talking about death. I'm like, oh yeah, death. Coco. Right.
Death, Coco. Yo, I don't know. But that's how I think about sports. I think that's why I like bodybuilding, because I look at bodybuilding. I'm just going to say this real quick at the very end. And that's like the only other sport I seem to like. And I know that's like a weird one, because sometimes I think about that, like, on my phone. I'll be like looking at like a bodybuilding competition or something like that. I'm like, okay, gotta make sure like that doesn't like just pop up on your screen. So like, what was the last thing you're looking at? Some like giant man in like posing trunks. But when I look at bodybuilding, it's like why I like that sport, I guess, over other things, is it's a controlled environment. You know, if you're doing like an exercise, whether it be a pull-up, a push-up, a bench press, a squat, so on, it's a controlled environment. Unless a fucking ginormous California earthquake happens while you're trying to bench press 350 pounds, for the most part, it's all fucking safe. You know what I mean? That's like the worst thing that could happen in a bodybuilding competition or like a powerlifting competition is a fucking giant earthquake goes off when some guy's fucking underneath a military prison. It's like, oh fuck, the weight's coming down.
Well, the other thing about bodybuilding, I'm sure that's the thing.
Bodybuilding sounds like the job you have when you have to go pick up dead bodies after like a battle in the olden days. Like, oh, what are you doing? Hey, I got a gig doing the bodylifting. Yeah. What are we doing? Oh, you pick the body up, you fireman carry him over, and you just chuck him in this huge pit over there. Yeah, it stinks kind of bad, but somebody's got... It's a living.
Surprisingly, it has a good healthcare plan, ironically enough.
Ironically, and here's the nice thing about it, though. It's like you're carrying all these dead bodies with all these maggots kind of dripping out of them. You know, you wouldn't believe it, but it builds up the immune system. I tell you this, healthy as an ox. Healthy as I've ever been in life.
You should sign your kid up for it. I know he's looking for a job right now. I can get a word in with my boss.
Yeah, you know, it's good for them to get a job at age 8. You know what I mean? You know, there's always kids that die in battle, so, you know, he can pick them right up.
So that means he's good for retirement by age 23, then he's dead at 26.
Yeah, oh, he'll get a long life right there. 26, that's how my grandpapa lived. You know, saw the whole world at 26, you know what I mean? Like, this island is, you know, there's nothing more than it.
Yeah. Like the sun's down, trying to go home because
waiting for those fucking Romans showing up all the time, fucking us over. You know, it'd be great here, but yeah, you know, somebody's got to fight him, I guess.
To keep before we go on to
Coco
and all that. Before we go into that, I do want to say, well, it makes sense if you're into bodybuilding. It makes sense that you would bodybuild because I cannot imagine someone who just enjoys the sport of bodybuilding, but does not participate. That is one of those things I think you got to be part of that. You got to probably do that to give a shit.
Remember that movie Bad Teacher that we watched a while ago? Yeah. I rewatched that movie again just the other day because I found that like really cheap. I'm like, oh, that was a great movie. I should get that one. It's funny because remember like the roommate she has, and it's the guy that's on Modern Family or whatever. Mm-hmm. That guy's literally the guy who's like that overweight guy, and he's always reading like the Flex magazines, and he's super into bodybuilding, but you can tell that he never really works out. He even fucking works at a gym, and they just call him bitch tits.
I forgot about that.
I thought that because it just reminded me. It's like, oh yeah, that's fucking right. Every once in a while though, you do see those kind of guys. Like I remember like. I know it's getting all fucking off topic, but still in the same ballpark. But on the Hulk Hogan TV show, there was a part where it's like, the ultimate super fan, he gets to go hang out with Hulk Hogan for the day. And this guy's like, look at my collection. I got every fucking Hulk Hogan memorabilia and you know, and so on. And then, of course, he's hanging out with Hulk Hogan for the day. So the first thing they do is they go to the gym. And this guy's like kind of like overweight and everything. And fucking Hulk Hogan like gives him like some eggs to drink. And of course, he throws it up before they even reach the gym like a fucking pussy. But other than that, it's like I look at that and I go, how the fuck are you that obsessed with Hulk Hogan, but you're not fucking working out? That to me is fucking weird. You know what I mean? I mean, it'd be different if like you're obsessed with maybe Hulk Hogan's movies or something like kind of different, but it's like, you are that into Hulk Hogan, and you never thought that like, you know, maybe I should start working out. You know what I mean? And I mean, obviously there's tons of people out there that are like that. So I mean, but at the same time, I think about like,
I think
to me, I watch Hulk Hogan, I'm like, fuck, I got to start working out. That's what I start thinking.
I think if people that see that and they want to be that, but they don't have the drive to actually become that, but they still have the thing of one day that will be me. But, yeah. And then you also got, I guess you could play it off like, oh, he loves wrestling and he loves Hulk Hogan movies, but he's not big into the fitness aspect. But to go work out with him, oh, it's such a fucking honor. So out of that, or yeah, but the guys who are into bodybuilding but don't actually have the willpower to go through with it. That is kind of weird to me, but that just seems like to me like I wish I was this, and I will be one day as soon as I'm done eating this s'more flavored ice cream.
And I think that is. I mean, I guess that's like that with any sport. I mean, there probably is somebody who's like, I fucking love powerlifting, but I've never really lifted. It's still kind of weird though when I say it out loud. Like, I'm into powerlifting, but I don't want to lift weights. That to me seems fucking, like, odd. It's like, what do you mean you don't want to? You're fucking into it. Like, don't you want to, like...
I just want to be the cheerleader. I want to be the guy on the side. Just tell him, you can do it, boss.
I want to be the guy that oils them up.
Some people just want to aspire to be the water boy or the towel guy.
I guess that's it. Well, see, I'll say this. The guy who aspires to be the towel boy, you're still fucking working there. That to me still seems, like, logical. It's like, oh, okay. You really like football so much, you got at least a job in the football stadium. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, to me that seems more progressive than like doing something completely different. But I don't know. That's just kind of how it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those ones like bodybuilding. Obviously, if I didn't work out all the time, I don't think I'd be like super obsessed with bodybuilding. Like I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand. you know, or like powerlifting and, you know, any calisthenics and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just odd for me to be like, I guess because the way I look at sports is like it's people that are really obsessed with something, but they don't do it like at all generally. I mean, obviously some people like they played in high school or something like that, like, but just the fact that like, but even a lot of people I know, it's like I look at like Kyle, like he's been on the podcast, our good buddy, he's in Pizza Boys. He played all fucking sports his entire life, but he really actually doesn't watch sports. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's like the second that he stopped playing them,
I think
it's
he just likes
like
the social aspect of it.
Yeah, I think he likes the physical, like, you know, that's what he likes to do is like the physicalness of it and so on. But, you know, and like maybe, yeah, he's one of those people, he's not necessarily like, oh, I'm like the fan, you know what I mean? But he's the guy who fucking won the contest to go fucking the punt, pass, and kick contest and got to go kick a fucking field goal at Raider Stadium when he was a kid, so. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, we're sitting around bitching about, like, you know, people not liking zombies at that time. We're like, fuck, those people don't like us being zombies. He's out there fucking kicking field goals in front of, like, 30,000 people plus or whatever that stadium holds.
I'm just realizing just the contrast of me saying, so how about we talk about a Pixar movie? Like, I'm not done throwing bodybuilding, you fucking bitch.
Yeah, fuck it. Why don't you get up there and fucking lift some body weight up at least? Shit, you don't have to be out there, you know.
You actually, tell you what, if you can do a fucking push-up, we'll talk about your fucking Disney movie. Well, technically, it's a division of Pixar. I say, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you better shut the fuck up, or next thing you know, we're gonna go drag you down to C.T. Fletcher's gym and have him force you to work out.
Oh, I don't want that. I don't even know what that word means, but it sounds intimidating.
It's okay. You like C.T. Fletcher. He's like the nicest guy.
I'm sure he's probably pretty cool.
But he really puts the effort into getting people to work out.
He sounds like the kind of guy. Does he have his own protein powder?
Yeah, he does actually have his own supplements. His supplements are the fucking best. I use the pre-workout called Sidewalk Cracker.
Oh, you told me about this guy. This is the Compton Cotton Candy.
Yeah, they've got that flavor and everything like that.
Yeah, you tell me about this dude. Yeah, I think he was on Joe Rogan's show a little bit ago.
Yeah, he was, which was cool. I was like, oh fuck, that's awesome. But yeah, you know, I've kind of come to this conclusion. Like, you know, this sounds so weird. I know I'm back in the bodybuilding, and I know you want to get to Coco, but and just like you know, because
you want to get to Coco.
Yeah, you just want to go. It's got fucking chocolate in the title, but in like bodybuilding and whatnot and so on, like, you know, I'm always watching just either different videos and reading different books and so on. It's just, I always just do it kind of before I work out. It's kind of like the pre-motivation to it. I mean, like, I know as well as like, how many fucking times can you read about a fucking like push-up or a pull-up? But you can, and whether it be, you know, guys from Russia, guys from fucking America, you know, black, white, European, so on, Asian. It's funny, like, I just kind of came to the conclusion after a while. It's like, there's almost like this, if you separate between like black guys and white guys that work out, this is like the weird thing I've noticed, is black guys just have almost like the attitude like, yeah, just go out there and fucking lift that weight and just do it. Come on, get those reps in and everything like that. And then it seems like white people are all like, okay, so what you gotta do is you gotta get your calculator out and get your papers out because we're gonna calculate how much weight you'll be lifting. And it's like, it's almost like that. And then you kind of go, but all the black guys are much bigger and they just kind of do it while these white guys are sitting here calculating this out, but they're definitely much smaller.
Well, you one time told me you went into like all the aspects of biology, and people say that's racist, but it's literally to the level of like, well, what diets work better with what races, as well as what works better for your body type as far as working out.
Well, I mean, that just makes sense. It's just like where you kind of evolved from. So if you were hanging out in Northern Europe where it's fucking snowing all the time, technically, your ancestors never fucking ate vegetables. They never fucking ate fruit because it just didn't fucking exist. You know what I mean? That's like how a lot, like, this guy studied the Eskimos, like, in the 50s. And all they ate is fish with, you know, and, like, there'd be fatty fish, and that'd be about it. If they were lucky, maybe elk. Never had vegetables, never had fruit. They fucking would, you know, run around hunting all day long and fishing, so they'd get, like, 30-plus miles in a day. And this is how they lived. They never ate a fucking vegetable. People in Iceland never had vegetables in the olden days, never had fruit. So it's certain areas. It's like, you know, milk's another one, too. People always go, oh, I can't have milk, you know, and so on. Oh, the milk is the deadly enemy. It's the death of all. Well, here's the thing. If you're from northern, like, Europe, you could probably have milk because you probably had cows and shit, and that was common in your diet. There's places in Africa where they had a lot of cows and so on. If you're in Asia, you probably never had a cow. If you're a Native American, you definitely never had a cow because they just didn't exist. So that's why certain people can't handle certain things. But I know some people go, oh, that's fucking racist. What do you mean? What do you mean a Native American can't have milk? I'm like, well, he can. I mean, I'm not saying he can't, but if he wants consequences... Yeah, if he's gonna, he's gonna drink it and he might bloat up and he might have like stomach problems and so on. But it's just like perfect examples. Like I can't go fucking jump in butt naked into Poison Oak. That's not gonna help me because of my fucking Northern Europeanness. I'm gonna come out and be like, oh, fucking rashes and so on. Where a Native American guy can just go running fucking bare ass naked through it and be fine. You know what I mean? We just evolve differently, and I think that's sort of how it is. But it's like when I just think about this working out things, it's like. There's a lot of these like black guys. They don't take steroids and things like that. And some people, there's always somebody's like, oh, he's fucking taking steroids. I'm like, nah, a lot of these guys are actually, they can win fucking like contest natural. You know what I mean? But it's just like, their workout style is always just so much more simple. Like the white guy's got to break it down like you're fucking doing like a science math class thing. I don't know why that always is. It's just like every white guy, it's like that's what they always go straight towards. Is like, okay, now crack open the book and start getting your calculator out because this isn't what you're going to do. You're going to, do a math equation between your body weight, get your body fat percentage, you know what I mean? Lean body mass and so on. It's like, I'm going to say this, a black guy has never told you to fucking pull that out. They never do. And they always are in way better shape than everybody else, and I try my best to like try to achieve like the closest I can get to these guys. That's how I feel. I'm like, if I lived in another life, I wish that I was either a big black bodybuilder guy or a little Asian J-pop singer.
J-pop singer.
I want to be either a female J-pop singer or a big black bodybuilder. Those are like the two things that I want to be if I could be like another person.
I just learned something new about you today. I mean, the big black bodybuilder thing I already knew. That little Asian J-pop singer, that's a new one on me.
I don't know what it is. Those are the two things. I'm like, you know what? That looks like the right kind of different lifestyle. Right there. And if I could fucking fight crime while doing it, it'd be amazing.
If you're the J-pop singer and you were into that, I guess you'd be like the closest thing to Sailor Moon.
Probably. And if I had powers like Sailor Moon, it'd be even more amazing.
Anyway, regarding that though, I was
back to Coco.
I was actually about to just trail on what you said just for a second.
The bodybuilding.
I'm not even sure because we can talk about Coco for a while. That could almost be its own episode, I think. Going off this for a minute, I was going to say, I notice all the white people that always, because I notice between you, other friends of mine, and then just listen to people on podcasts talk about this diet and this workout they're doing, it's always fluctuating and always changing. And sometimes I do see results, but it's one of those things, I've never seen anybody just get ridiculously ripped and jacked out off that. Like, I've seen people like, well, I'm doing the 300 workout. Well, I'm doing the Hugh Jackman workout for Wolverine. Well, I'm doing this. I'm currently doing the paleo diet. I'm actually doing juicing. And I'm doing, it switches, it varies. And I'm like, I would imagine, maybe you can correct me, maybe this depends on your own biology, but I would imagine your body's like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Which one? Because I hear people just kind of going back and forth and mixing around, and I know when exercising, if you do the same thing too much, your body gets used to it and it doesn't get much of an effect. But as far as dieting and all that, I imagine your body be like, what the fuck is this shit? Why am I... Like, I imagine that would almost slow it down if you're constantly changing your diet like that.
Well, realistically, you don't really want to change too much. The thing you do is you can almost do a test. You just eat food, and then you just go, okay, how does cheese affect me? Take a bite of cheese, eat something, and just go, does it make me feel bloated? Does it make me feel sick? Does it make me do this? No, it doesn't seem to do any effect. Well, then you can handle it. Like, you can almost do it like that. Or what I like, this is one of the best diet ones I heard. Now, this one comes from a British guy, but he says it's just like, you just eat things that are just a singular ingredient. That's like the best diet advice. If it's got more than like, I guess it could be one or two, but you keep it down to like a single thing. Like an apple's an apple. A piece of steak's a piece of steak. A piece of cheese is a piece of cheese. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's just one solid general ingredient. Milk is milk. Fruits, vegetables, they're just that. Stay away from anything that you look at the back and you're like, oh, it's got like 6 to 30 things on it. Like, that's what you got to almost kind of avoid. That's anything processed. Even bread, because bread's, you look at fucking bread, even the most healthiest bread you can get, still got like 35 fucking ingredients in it, you know what I mean, at the end of the day? Because they just say your body just has a hard time breaking down copious amounts of stuff than just like one solid thing. And it's even like working out too. It's almost like at the end of the day, what I've kind of learned from everybody's research, from the European guys, from the Russian guys, from the African guys, from the, the Asians and everybody, is you just want to make it simple. Just, pick a routine. Doesn't matter if you want to do the fucking 300 routine, do the fucking 300 routine, but stick with it. Don't go switching around like every 2 weeks. like hopefully hoping that everything will kind of get there. And that's what you do, is just kind of truck along with it. And almost like the best advice too is also like, look at like before the 60s and back. Whatever they did between like the 1900s and the 1960s, that's like the most important time period to look, because they got it really dialed in at that point. And they didn't have to sell anything really. So it was just like, no, this is just like, what does it? This is all you have to do. So stick with this. Where by the time the 70s, once bodybuilding got popular in the 70s, I mean, I guess 70s stuff's still fine. By the 80s, that was like almost like, okay, well, we can't just sell like what works. That's like literally one magazine worth of information. Well, let's start throwing it out there. Let's start like, making it more extreme. Here's the Jane Fonda workout. Everybody can jump into the Jane Fonda workout. Fuck that Jane Fonda workout. We got Taibo now. Fucking Taibo is where it's at. No, fucking Taibo's not enough. P90X, you gotta make it extreme. And you know how they always just kind of keep trying to one up each other? And it's like, no, you want to look at that old-timey, like, go back in the olden days. Like, what was the most primal movements? What's the things that people have done for centuries that will always work? I mean, at the end of the day, the push-up, the pull-up, the squat, those are like those exercises, it's like, they're tried and true. If you want to do exercises with weights, the bench press, the deadlift, the squat, like, those are the tried and true ones are always the best. Everybody's always got their kind of idea to try to throw spins on it, but I feel like that almost confuses people. Like, really, at the end of the day, you think you should be able to just go like, okay, body, lift something heavy, we'll do it for reps, and then I feed you, and you should grow. You think your body would just naturally be like, oh, yeah, let's do that. Let's get ready, because you know what? You never know when the fucking Mongols are going to come back, and we're going to have to fight them back off again. You never know when Caesar's going to rise from the grave and start fighting us again. You know what I mean? You think your body would naturally just fucking be like, yeah, let's get fucking jacked. But for some reason, I don't know why it's not nearly as potent as that.
Your body's like, no, today's a stay in bed and read a book kind of day.
Yeah, don't you want to stay in bed and read a book and watch Coco? And we can watch Coco and drink Coco! Yay!
I was gonna say, I was gonna see this movie before I came up, and
Coco?
I was gonna see the movie before I came up, but I was walking over to the theater to check it out, and actually, no, that can't have been the case because it can't. Never mind. That doesn't matter. I was actually going to see it sooner. I was just going to say this. I was going to see it sooner, and I just lost track of what day it was. I thought it was like a Friday. So I'm like, 2:00 showing, Friday, no one's going to be there. All right, cool. So I'm walking there like, yeah, no one's going to fucking be there. It's 2:00 in the afternoon. Kids aren't out of school yet. They get there. Just this parade of kids. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, shit. It's
Christmas
Saturday.
break.
I forgot it was Saturday. No, it was just literally me forgetting to look at a fucking calendar. Like, oh wait, no, it's Saturday. Fuck. Just whatever reason. I said a total brain fart. I thought this thing was Friday all fucking day, and I'm just like, oh shit, it's fucking Saturday, and all these fucking kids in there like, oh my, it's like, oh, I know I already walked like 30 minutes to get over here, but I'm just walking right back the other fucking direction. There's no way I'm going to be like the only guy in the back in a theater full of kids like, hey, you guys like Disney too? So, turned around, just walked right back. Like, nope, this is a waste of time. My bad. But then eventually I saw it yesterday, and geez, I'll say it makes sense why they name it what it is. But at first, like, why the fuck's it named this? Like, oh, it's named after the grandma of all characters.
Yeah, the great grandma.
The great grandma of all characters, named after the great grandma who just kind of sits in a chair. And before we get too much into it, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna just say this, and people may judge me, but this is the first time I cried at a movie since like the 6th fucking grade. And I wasn't like full on bawling, but I was definitely sitting there like a soggy-eyed bitch when it got to the end.
Really? I cry at movies like all the time nowadays. It's just like, just happens. Fucking when Paul Walker died.
Last movie I actually cried at, like legitimately cried at, and this, now I look back on like, oh, it doesn't have the same effect on me as it did then, but when in the 5th or 6th grade, Pokemon the first movie.
Yeah.
Last time I cried, up until, well, yeah, it's not even the fact that Ash is dead, it's the fact that Pikachu's like confused, like, dude, get up. He's not getting up. He's not fucking getting up. What? And he can't comprehend it. He doesn't know what's going on. It's like, oh fuck. I don't care about Ash. I'm sad for you. You lost your friend. So that was the thing with Pikachu in that movie. But this right here is just like, gonna fucking cry. You're not gonna fucking cry. And I just felt like Will.
You're not gonna cry for all these children around you and be the single adult.
No,
you're gonna jerk off instead. That's what you're gonna do.
Gonna come out the sorrow.
You're gonna use tears for lube.
The sorrow's gonna come out. Come out. No.
And only afterwards are you gonna think that was a terrible idea.
No, that's got to be a thing. Crying while masturbating. I think we were talking about that when David
in a
Bass
children's
was on.
movie.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
I wouldn't say Coco's a children's movie. I would say it's a family movie. I feel children's movie is a demeaning word.
Yeah, well, it's definitely one of those things. Well, I ended up seeing it like yesterday when school was in session and there were no children there. So, and plus, you don't want to go into a movie like, why the fuck are all these kids doing a Disney movie? Because every so often you being an adult, you get that kind of sense like, why are you bringing a kid to this fucking movie to a 10 o'clock showing? Then you gotta ask, well, what are you doing by yourself in a family movie? It's like, touche.
Well, I was like, one of my favorite parts is when we went to the fucking Lego Ninjago movie, and like there was like 4 adults sitting there. It was like me, you, Laura, and other Ryan. And I remember this guy comes in with like his 2 kids, and he kind of does the look left, look right, and then he looks right back at us and goes, is this the Lego movie? We're like, yeah, it is. Come on in. But I kid you not, when I went and saw it, I saw it like opening day, first showing at like 7 o'clock or something at night. And I was still kind of surprised because there was a bunch of kids there. And there was a couple little like rowdy bastards. I even flipped a kid off, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's probably a bad idea. I'm going to get sucker punched in the back of the head. Because I'm
Was it
sitting
some high schooler or something? Or what was it?
No, it was a child.
What will define child? Like too young
like
to understand.
6 years old. I don't know.
6 years old to flip a bird off.
I was like, fuck that kid. Why is he running around? Well, where's his fucking parents? You need to go outside and give him a fucking beating. You know, teach these kids how, or teach these fucking parents how to raise their own stupid
Get in
kid.
the fucking belt.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just one of those ones like, I think they need to bring back like beating kids, because I think there's just some kids out there. It's like, I feel that's the only way they're gonna learn. They're not good kids, like just where you go, okay, Timmy, sit down and enjoy this movie. They're like those bad kids that just have probably bad parents and they just need to fucking like get a whipping. But
I'll be honest, I mean, I won't go into this because it'll lead to a whole other conversation. I'll make this quick. I myself am against beating kids. I think you should be a better parent to just teach them not to do this, not to do that. And I think there's ways to do that without beating the kid. In most cases, not always. I know some people say, you clearly haven't been a fucking parent. But I'll say this, working at a job where I have to deal with kids a lot, I totally get the appeal. of why you punch a kid in the face.
I see where it happens.
I shouldn't say that. I get the appeal of it. It's something I'm not going to act on.
Well, no, you should say it. If you feel it, you should say it, because it's true. It's like one of those ones, like, you look at kids, they're just evil little bastards, so it's like, I don't fucking have kids, but I see other people's kids, and I want to whip the shit out of them, you know what I mean? Like, I go, fuck that little bastard.
Get over here.
I actually, more than anything, I want to whip the shit out of the parents, because I'm like, fuck you guys for being fucking assholes and having kids, when you probably shouldn't be having kids, you know, and bringing these little bastards into a movie theater that they don't fucking belong in, because obviously they're not, like, ready for fucking socializing in public. But
I can't handle the intense narrative of Coco.
Yeah, but still, it's like one of those ones. At the end of the day, let's get to Coco and fuck those little kids and fuck their parents. Their parents are probably too stupid to fucking understand, but Coco, though, was a fucking great movie. And here's how it is. Like, Pixar movies, like, I don't know what it is. I think I've just had this thing throughout time. Like, obviously, I was a humongous Toy Story fan, but as Pixar kind of went on, it was always like, oh, the CG company that thinks they're so fucking special. You know what I mean? Next, I think as Pixar always had that attitude. Like, we make the best stuff. You know what I mean? When you want the prize cartoon, you come to Pixar. You know what I mean? And I think that kind of attitude, I was saying, like, fuck you guys. What do you guys think you're so fucking special? You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I'll say this. They make a fucking good movie. You know what I mean? You can say whatever you want about Pixar, but you kind of go and watch the movie, and you're like, yeah, pretty fucking good, not gonna lie.
Well, that being said, do you want a movie company that says, like, hey, guys, you can come in. I mean, you get what you get. Do you want that to be the other one?
Well, it's one of those ones, like, you know, because, I mean, like, I find
like
companies
2D
like,
animation.
you know, we scraped up the bottom of the barrel of what we had for cash, and this is what you got, and, you know, our animators, well, 3 of them, we just got them off the street, but fuck you, here you go. I mean, I'll give somebody credit if that's how, like, they fucking start off, like, sure, that's fine, but, like, I just like some of those ones, like, the idea, because there's just always those people out there, like, that Pixar is the only good animation company out there, and it's like, fuck you. No, it's not. Other people make good
that's
fucking...
the critics.
Well, it's not the critics, that's just people in general. It's just one of those ones, like, you know what I mean? Like, fucking DreamWorks makes fine movies. Fucking, you know, Nickelodeon makes fine movies. Fucking other places do. It's like, I'm okay, running out of CG companies to name off the top of my head, but at the end of the day, it's like they do. But this Coco movie, though, was pretty fucking good. And I mean, I know this was totally, like, there was that. I almost want to say it was DreamWorks. I'm not too sure if it was DreamWorks, but the Book of Life movie. They were like, oh, we'll do the Day of the Dead thing, and it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's actually a pretty good movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's not as good as Coco, but still a fun movie. But that literally is my Pixar was like, yeah, like you think you know how to fucking Day of the Dead enough. We'll fucking come in here, come in here late as usual. We're like Apple. We show up late, but we'll make sure that you're sucking our dick at the end of the day.
Pixar,
what are you gonna do? Fuck you. You don't have a lamp.
How would you like some fucking whimsy? Slow that shit down.
Well, I also like, too, how they have, like, a Frozen fucking, like, intro to it.
Jesus Christ. That thing was fucking...
Dude, well, it's like I was like, Frozen's a good movie, and that Frozen was like that. I mean, that short was fine, but it was like, Jesus Christ, that was half a movie. It was like 35 fucking minutes long. I
was like, Jesus Christ, what the I was like, it was going on and on and on.
It was not even a short. There was like 6 fucking musical numbers in it. It was halfway. To me, I felt like that was a waste for like Disney. It's like, dude, why don't you guys just fucking finish this movie and then sell it as Frozen 2? Like, because here's the thing, you're not making any money off Frozen the short, the fucking Olaf's special Christmas bonus. You're like just giving it away for free. So if you think about it, like that's like how much fucking work and money went into that just to give it away. That was kind of weird. I mean, some people online were like, they're using Frozen to try to like, use white people as a gateway in to getting to Coco. And I'm like, whatever. Dude, I don't think anybody fucking knew there was a Frozen thing until they showed up. I didn't fucking know. I was like, oh, I mean, I obviously knew there was going to be a short, but I didn't know what the short was going to be, So I was like, oh, it's a Frozen one. How about that?
I just imagine just like some like super uptight Christian mom, like, okay, all right, Nancy, let's go see the Frozen movie. Let's get out of here before, like as soon as like Coco starts up, you just hear let's go.
Like all the Mexican family runs in, like the stereotype that all the white people are afraid of. Like, oh God, they're gonna start having a barbecue in the theater and everything like that, and they're gonna bring not only just their immediate family, but the whole family and the whole block is gonna show up, and they're gonna roll in their lowered vehicles. And they're, that's just like, I think that's what people are fearing. But I'm pretty sure like Coco is like the most like safest gateway, I guess you could say, movie to like Mexican culture. Like you couldn't ask for a more easier way for the most fearful white Christian uppity yuppity person to like jump into something. You know what I mean? It's not fucking Machete or something like that.
I feel like I still feel like Fox News is gonna have something negative to say about it. But that's just Fox News. So
I think so too, but. All in all,
like Pixar was a good, wholesome family company, but look what they've done recently. We thought we were going to see a good old-fashioned Christmas movie called Coco, but learning as the movie went on, like, I think this movie is pushing for immigration. I don't know if I like the idea of that.
And, well, here's the thing. You know that there'll be some, like, white Christians that are going to come up against this. Because this is what happened when Moana came out. I didn't fucking notice this, but I saw a bunch of, like, it was, like, in a parade. And all the Christians got their fucking floats together to spread their goddamn propaganda. But they literally had a propaganda float that said, don't believe those heathenist Hawaiians and their fake religion. And it's just like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me? Like, is Maui that threatening to you? Is The Rock like that? It's like, but you know for a fact somebody's gonna be like, don't believe the Mexicans are coming and they're gonna try to ruin good fucking Christian values with their goddamn fucking Mexican hell Holocaust. What? I don't know what it fucking is, but it's just the devil's work is what it is. It's the devil beaner's work. And you're like, you know it's gonna fucking happen because that's what those fucking white Christian fucking churches do. And it's like, fuck those guys.
I didn't know there was all that pushback against Moana. I'm just imagining. I just like to imagine like lightning happens in the sky. Then all of a sudden, like fucking Dwayne Johnson comes down with a giant hook, like, who's talking that shit? And just like annihilates that whole like parade. And then he turns to all the bystanders, like, you're welcome. It turns into like a eagle, takes off.
Yeah, exactly. But I know we got to kind of wrap this up somewhat, but I'm going to say, I'm just going to assume you already know what the Coco story is by this point. But I will have to say, this is the one thing when watching this movie, like, okay, because at first, the kid,
spoilers
like
ahead.
Miguel thinks that, like, what's his name? Enrico? No.
I forget. There's a guy tagging along with him. Hector is the guy.
No, not Hector, who turns out to be his actual father. He thinks that, God, what's his name? It's been like 2 weeks since I saw him.
But yeah,
the main guy who's pretty much like the big mariachi singer, you know, the crooner. He's almost like an Errol Flynn type era guy. Like he was in movies and so on. You know, it almost kind of gets you to say like Elvis Presley, where it's like not only was he like a humongous like musician, but he also had all kinds of movies and so on and stuff too. But like he thinks this guy's his father the whole time, or his great grandfather. You know, one of those extended things. Like if it was white people, they wouldn't fucking remember it past their grandfather. Like be like, who the fuck are you?
Someone dead.
Yeah, you know, white people's family doesn't last that long. But like, cause I told that to Laura when we walked out. I was like, I literally look at her. I'm like, if this is like pretty much white people kind of going to their afterlife, they would all be fucking erased just like right away. They'd be forgotten by the time their grandparents would be already disappearing. Like, could you please at least let the grandchildren know that we're still here? That, you know, World War II wasn't that long.
Turn that orange mist and flow away.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like good thing that like Mexico can remember like 3 generations back, because clearly in fucking America they would be fucking long gone.
Over that shit.
That place would be fucking vacant. Like they would be changing fucking apartments like every day. But no. Okay, so it's not Enrico. Fuck, it's not Emilio. It's whatever. But the main like guy is like, so Miguel's going like, oh, you know, you're my great grandfather. You know, I want to be a musician, everything like that. And I like at first he's like having this huge party, like everything's fucking good. And so he's like, oh, I got a grandchild. This is fucking awesome. And you know this movie is coming back around because it's like, the whole point is that like that guy left the great-great-grandmother back in the day to go for a music career instead of family. And you knew that it was coming back around to being this story of like, no, family's going to be important. You know what I mean? Just because your family doesn't always agree with you, they're still family. And I knew it was going to come there, but I would have gave Pixar so much fucking balls if that guy's like turned out to be his actual like great-grandfather. He's like, no, Miguel, fuck family. Look, clearly I just ditched them. I said, fuck you, bitch, and your kid, and I just went off, and look, I became a fucking sensational star. I was top charts in Mexico and top charts in America. I starred in movies. I was getting pussy left and right. Like, I didn't even need fucking family anymore. And look at me. In the afterlife, I got this ginormous tower. It's bigger than anybody's fucking house. Look at, they're putting on Day of the Dead Day. That's my concert day. That's my fucking, like, Woodstock here. Like, come on, Miguel, fuck him. Don't you want what I got? Like, that's just how it went. I would have been like, fucking egg. I would have gave him so much fucking credit for just going with that kind of answer. Like, no, fuck family. Shit, they're gonna hold you back. Yeah, they don't believe in you. They want you to make fucking shoes like a fucking peasant. No, grab that guitar. Fucking shred that shit.
I was actually expecting them to do that for a second, because every once in a while Pixar does throw a curveball at you in a way you don't expect, because every once in a while they'll get very real. Like, here's an instance. Like, this isn't Pixar, but this is, I think, a comparison of one CG movie to a Pixar movie. There's the part in the Ninjago Lego movie where the dad is... He's like, you know what? I'm going to be a good father. Actually, you know what? I'm evil. It's who I am. Then he comes back around to being, you know what? We're family. We got to be nice to each other, or whatever the fuck. I honestly think Pixar would have gone the other way. I think Pixar would have said, like, it may be tempting, but you had your family over here the whole time. Blood isn't family. I think, first off, the movie probably would have got better reviews if it did that and then do the thing where he came around and was like, oh, I am a nice guy. But I also think Pixar probably would have just said, no, he is the villain. We're not breaking away from that. And this movie does come back around to making like that compromise, that middle ground between, your
family finally realizes that music's not the devil.
Yeah, your family has to accept you, but don't turn your back on family. There has to be a middle ground you meet at. And I like the movie. It didn't say you have to do one or the other. It met at the middle ground. But the thing is, the twist wasn't exactly... I figured it was already going to do something like that. But the twist wasn't that. The twist was nearly every Disney movie. I'm not going to say nearly... I mean, Disney probably started it, but there's always, like, the funny, shambling character who's around for the ride. Mm-hmm. And he probably helps out at some point. Maybe he has sort of a sad backstory. And for a while, like, okay, we got this shambling character who's just here for the ride. And he's going to help him out. He's kind of a shyster, whatever. And then when it gets to the point of, like... oh shit, not only is he your great-great-grandfather, he was fucking murdered by the guy you thought was your grandfather.
Yeah.
And
he wrote all the fucking songs.
And had this tragic fucking life. And it was just like, oh, fuck. Yeah, and even like, I was just like, God, that got fucking dark. And in a way you don't expect, too.
No, yeah.
when it comes back around, like, we gotta make sure, because, you know, if they don't remember, if their picture is not put on Day of the Dead, they start to get forgotten, and as time goes on.
So you gotta make sure you put Freddy Krueger's picture up every single year.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
that's like Freddy's mission. He's gotta make sure he gets his picture up every year on Day of the Dead.
As long as someone remembers me. Someone's just put up a VHS of Nightmare on Elm Street 3. It just changes as generations go on. But no, so when he comes back, and, you know, there's the flashback that before he left, he played that song for his daughter, Coco, who's like who's an elderly old senile lady sitting in a chair just in the corner, barely ever talks. And then when he gets to the part at the end of the movie, when, like, he's about to die, he goes up to his parents trying to stop him, like, what are you doing with that fucking guitar? Get over here! Stops and then plays the song, and she's actually active for the first time in God knows how long. Her eyes open up, and she has a tear rolling down. It's like that part right there, I was like, oh fuck. Oh fuck. Like, it was just one of those things that totally caught me. I mean, I knew it was something like that was going to happen, but it was like one of the most... That part was genuine as fuck. And that's where this movie just threw me a total curveball. I'm like, oh, you made me feel.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's like, that's always how Pixar movies kind of are. It's like, you don't think much of them when you kind of look at the trailer, like, yeah, whatever, another Pixar movie, so on. But then you do watch them, and like, they are well made. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, like, I know Pixar's owned by Disney, but I always look at Pixar as sort of a separate thing. But it's kind of like, it's like Disney movies. Like, you know, at the end of the day, you can always say all you want about Disney, but they still know how to make a pretty fucking good movie at the end of the day. Obviously, they've been around long enough to kind of have that going. It's just that they're a little bit evil of a corporation. Kind of like how I look at Pixar. I don't think it's necessarily evil, but I think it has that kind of smug feel to it. Like, we're the cream of the crop when it comes to animation. You know what I mean? Like, we fucking invented the CG. You know, I think they kind of have that, like, attitude. And I think sometimes that, to me, always goes, like, where you want to give the underdog a little bit more credit, even if their movie's not nearly as good, but still.
Well, they idolize, like, Miyazaki and all that. And it kind of shows every once in a while. You can kind of see where they're coming from on that. I mean, where you can tend to see their inspiration for that in some aspects, because... Well, something about Disney. I mean, something in animation could just get information across way quicker. Something about the storytelling and the imagery about it. But Disney has always been good about just telling I mean, it fluctuates. They'll sometimes have a decade where they're not doing so good. Like 80s, even though there are some great Disney movies.
I like the 80s ones. People always want to put down those 70s and 80s, but I guess maybe that's just what I grew up on a lot, so I like it a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just old school Disney people didn't like it.
Well, I was going to say, though, I mean, there's certain ones in the 80s that came out that kind of, like, people like, oh, yeah, that one, like, Oliver and Company.
Great movie.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, there's some of them I don't remember as well, but I think that at the time, because you had all these 60s people judging it like, it's not my fucking Disney, it was trying to be more modern. So they have these periods, whether you love it or not, where in most people's eye and most people's opinion, it just drops down for whatever reason. And then it comes back up in the 90s, and then early 2000s kind of drops back down again, even though there are some great movies that came out. It was just
like
weird
Lilo and
marketing
Stitch and Atlantis.
Well, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, those are great movies. And
they're kind of forgotten movies, though.
Well, Treasure Planet was also kind of like the marketing to that was also a little bit of a fuck you, because those were the guys who worked on that were like longtime Disney employees who've been working on it since they worked on Aladdin. They did a lot of stuff for Disney, and since the 80s they were trying to pitch Treasure Planet or Treasure Island in space. We just want to do that. And it was a back and forth, and they kept on trying to push it out there, and then at some point they switched execs. And I want to say Michael Eisner somebody switched out for Michael Eisner, and Michael Eisner was like, I don't give a shit about what that other guy promised you. You got this budget, you got this time, and I want to say there's also some fuck you that happened in the process of that. And when it came out, they didn't really advertise it that well or that much. So, and it just kind of came out like on a weird day too. Like came out like competing with some other movie. I think it was competing with some other Disney movie, and that just split both of them. Like, yeah, this thing was a piece of shit, so you're never getting a sequel, so fuck you, even though now people look back on it's kind of a cult. It's weird when you say, oh, that's kind of a cult Disney movie. Like, a Disney movie has a cult following. I mean,
well, it's like Black Cauldron's in that kind of cult Disney movie section. And
funny enough, those are the same guys that worked on Black Cauldron. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so maybe these are like sort of like alternative guys. Well, I hate to kind of wrap it all up here, but I gotta kind of take off.
It's 2:30. It's 2:30.
And and we went on a nice long one, but overall though, Coco was really fun, really enjoyable, and we had our nice like fun rants here. But yeah, till whatever next time we end up doing, we might have a guest on, we might do a retrospect, we might go back in time. I'm not too sure, but check out oldmanorange.com for more podcasts, cartoons, comics, music, and more. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we'll see you some other time.
Later, folks.
Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. And if you want to help out even more, click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. Won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks for listening, and tune in next week to Old Man Orange.